It's a fantastic day for the United States of America.
It's the Bill King Show. Call or text now. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Call us or send us a text on the WNSR text line. 615-844-5600. 615-844-5600. Call or text. Same number.
Red 7! I don't know what Red 7 means.
Brought to you by Omni Nashville Hotel. 5th Avenue, downtown.
Hot rock!
That's what we call a sack lunch.
I do have are a very particular set of skills. Skills that make me a nightmare for people like you.
Florida State hosts North Alabama. Maybe they take those $150 chicken nuggets and half price them because of the team that's coming in there. Not to knock North Alabama at all, but this is a playoff team, Florida State, playing North Alabama. Maybe they'll give Allen 50-75% off on those nuggets. We'll see. We'll see. TJ, top of hour 2. Dave Hooker, Off the Hook Sports, covers Tennessee Vols, host the top team on this planet. Until somebody says, no, I'll show you otherwise. The Georgia Bulldogs on Rocky Top, Saturday, CBS, 2:30 Central, 3:30 Eastern. And Dave will fill us in on the Vols' preparation for this game. They're about a 10, 11-point underdog at home to the mighty Georgia Bulldogs. Top of hour 3, Rusty Manziel with On 3. Rusty has been a friend of ours on this show for decades, and we've got him back today. Top of hour 3, J.C. Sherbert from his site, which is thebigspur.com, South Carolina, and his collective, which is called Carolina Rise. That is today's guesting. That's the way it's going to look on this Thursday edition. 615-844-5600. On Twitter, at Bill is King. And you can email the show, BillIsKing7 at gmail.com. BillIsKing7 at gmail.com. I was looking at next week. Obviously, we have week 12 to play, and we've got some pretty fun games. We've got various SEC teams not playing much, meaning of an opponent this Saturday. But I was looking at next week because it's going to be a short week for the show. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. What games are on? You've got the Egg Bowl, which, of course, is going to be on Thanksgiving Day. That one is in Starkville, and that is a 6:30. Now, that's a Central Time, 6:30 Central Time game in Starkville, Ole Miss, Mississippi State. That's the game I always get so excited for on Thanksgiving. That one right there. On Friday, and there's a couple of other games Thursday, but I'm just highlighting a few. Friday, you have Iowa, Nebraska, in Lincoln. That's an early game, 11 o'clock. TCU and Boomer Sooner play on Friday. Now, that is next week. Next week. Missouri, Arkansas. Missouri is looking at a 10-2 season. I got to admit, I would not have predicted that. That is, I think, again, arguably the surprise of college football this year. And a good one. If you're a Missouri fan, a very pleasant, very good surprise. Friday, 3 o'clock Central Time, Missouri and Arkansas. That game is in Fayetteville. Arkansas is a putrid football team. They may be looking at a 3-9 record. And Sam Pittman is in trouble. I don't think they'll do anything this year with him. But next year would be come to Jesus season for Sam Pittman. No doubt about it. Penn State, Michigan State in East Lansing. Penn State and Sparty is also next Friday. Texas Tech, Texas. Texas is looking at a 11-1 regular season. And frankly, as of right now, things could change, but as of right now, won't make the playoffs. Don't think they will. Oregon State and Oregon. There's your one. By the way, they're about to separate out. One's going to the Big Ten. One is in a 2-team league that currently, according to the courts, has power along with Washington State in that entire league at the moment. An appeal has been filed on that. Yeah, that's the gist of what's happening next Thursday and Friday. I always look in advance. I always want to make sure I've got the schedule out in front of me where I can see what's coming up down the road. TJ, top of hour 2. Jeff in Ashland City checking in. Talking about Tennessee. Tennessee and Georgia. Tennessee, unless they can pull off a stunning upset, which I wouldn't predict, will end up likely 8-4 in Heupel's third year. That's not awful. It's not godforsaken bad. It would be deemed a disappointment, considering what they got done in year 2. Now, again, sometimes that's misleading, right? Sometimes what you do one year is assumed to have meaning about the next year, and sometimes it doesn't. And this team has had issues. They got issues at quarterback. He's had moments where he's played well. I've complimented him. He's not good enough. If you're going to win big, the quarterback Tennessee plays isn't good enough, and they're stubborn as all bleep about it. It's incredibly frustrating. They're either beat up or not making plays at wide receiver. Running backs have been good. And the back end on the defense might as well not trot people out there from time to time. Some of the busts they have in the secondary are unconscionable. Tennessee will have plays in the secondary where you can't see the DB. Now, on the All-22 you could, but on a TV screen, it's that bad at times. They are so discombobulated back there because, again, they won't do anything about the coach they have back there, who's not a good defensive back coach, Willie Martinez. They won't do anything about it. That's what's frustrating. If you're a Tennessee fan and you're looking into the future, and you can go out and get all these guys in the portal, and they'll go out and replenish. They're having a top 10 recruiting class. That's good. And they still want to sign a couple of others. Portal coming up, and obviously they have to hand it off to Nico next year. So they'll be way better at quarterback. But how well are you coached? How well are you coached? And that's a worry right now in some areas there for them. Jeff in Ashland City. Bill, we all know what Heupel will do. He's going to stick with Milton no matter what. Had to be drag kicking and screaming to put Hendon Hooker in 3 years ago, Bill. Joe Milton in August practice a couple of years ago was the starter over Hendon Hooker. Somebody please do the math on that and explain that to me. Just saying. Tom in Myrtle Beach. Bill, was it me or was Patton just playing It's a Wonderful Time of the Year? Seems like about a week ago. Man, the season goes way too fast. It does. It does. I mean, I'm just looking at the last regular season week. I was just looking at it. That's way too fast. He's right. Yeah, he's right. Johnny Vegas. Bill, Texas with their league-leading running back out could have an issue getting past Iowa State. Yeah, they lost what is considered probably the top running back in this next draft after having the top running back a year ago in the draft. That's true. Clyde corrects me. You know what? I'm glad I wasn't thinking here. That Penn State Sparty game will be played at Ford Field in Detroit, which is obviously domed. So check that. It's not in East Lansing, like I mentioned. It is in Detroit. Sparty and Penn State, Ford Field. No, stand corrected, Clyde. Nice call there. No, I'm glad you brought that up because I was misspoken there. Jason, Hawkeye Jason. Bill, that game's in Ford Field. The prior commissioner of the league, that'd be Kevin Warren, made promises outside of the media deal, so NBC got to broadcast this game. That's right. Yep, that's right. That's right. Tell you what, we don't have time here, but Patton pulled an audio clip from John Harbaugh, brother of Jim Harbaugh, NFL head coach, Baltimore, talking about his brother. Nah, it's not anything riveting, but we'll do that after the break. Yeah, when we come back, we'll pull that clip out. It's not very long, maybe a minute, maybe a little less. I don't remember, but it is kind of interesting. No new news there, as far as I know, as far as Harbaugh and being back on the field. No news at all from that bit of drama. Then next Saturday, not this Saturday, next Saturday, the game. Yeah, I don't care what city you're in, what part of the country you're in. If you're in the South where college football is king, love it. I'm from there. I live there. I broadcast out of there. But the game is Ohio State, Michigan. Not one of those games down here. No. Not at all. That is the game. Get the first break. Omni Nashville Hotel.
Good morning. Already starting to load up now on 24 westbound as you come up through the Hickory Hollow area, trying to get out of Rutherford County, Murfreesboro towards Nashville. It's already a little bit busy over here also on 65 South at Trinity Lane as that traffic increases through Mount Juliet right now, coming in from Wilson County on 40 westbound towards Hermitage. Hey, Princess Hot Chicken is hiring at all 4 locations. Check them out today. You can order online, princesshotchicken.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Brad Fowler, Century 21 Right Realty, is asking listeners to please donate a toy to Toys for Tots this holiday season. You can make a difference in the life of a child. Brad Fowler, Century 21 Right Realty, is our area's premier and most trusted real estate professional, backed by years of experience. So if you're buying, selling, moving, or improving, give the pros a call today at 615-519-3339. 615-519-3339. That's Brad Fowler, Century 21 Right Realty. He's a professional who cares. In Tennessee, 967,430 people struggle with hunger, and 295,570 of them are children. That's 1 in 7 who struggle with hunger, and 1 in 5 are children. People who are hungry are not necessarily living on the streets. They may be in your child's classroom, in your neighborhood, or just down the street. In addition, many of these people live in food deserts, which are areas more than 10 miles from the nearest grocery store. Often there are limited resources to get food, and the only option is fast food or convenience markets. While processed food may help with hunger pangs, it provides little to no nutrition. What began in 2008 as a dream to buy land, grow food, and give it away has recently developed into a way to serve and impact more individuals in the community. God has blessed our mission to be a healthy food source to those in need so much, By Faith Farm had to create a nonprofit to continue meeting the need in the community on a larger scale. Visit byfaithfarm.com to get involved. That's byfaithfarm.com.
Are you ready for a touchdown of flavor and excitement? Look no further than Sam's Place and Sam's Sports Grill, the ultimate destination for great food, fantastic drinks, and game time atmosphere that will have you cheering for more. Sam's is the place for every sports fan and food lover with over 40 TVs at every location. Sam's has a family-friendly atmosphere where everyone can have a blast. From their friendly staff to awesome kids menu, they've got something for everyone. Online at samsplace.net or samsportsgrill.com, or call and find the nearest location to you. At Sam's, the game is always on and the fun never stops.
It's the McFarland Show with Darren McFarland and Fox 17's Justin McFarland.
This is just it. The Titans are trading Kevin Byard to the Eagles. The Eagles are going to send the Titans a 5th and 6th round pick and safety Terrell Edmonds.
Well, they're giving up on that contract.
There were also a lot of Titans fans upset about some of the comments he made, which I thought was insane.
Big kaboom here on this Monday.
The McFarland Show with Darren and Justin on Nashville Sports Radio WNSR.
Bill King is the 12th data point of college football.
I put out a request for J-Book Monday because we're going to have to unlock the law, which is, for this show, Mondays, no guesting. None. Doesn't matter whether it's playing portion or non-playing portion, no guesting. But to accommodate next week, we deemed it necessary to unlock that law for a day. For Monday. Ole Miss EVU scheduled for Monday, and I put out a request for J-Book for that same day. I'm still trying to maneuver that week. I want to leave Wednesday in place. I don't want to start taking the last day of the week, which is Wednesday for next week with the holidays, and move those. That just creates lots of traffic and unnecessary movement. But everything else I'm trying to get back into place and move it earlier in the week. And we'll see how that turns out. I think it'll turn out all right. I think it'll work out. Patton pulled a clip. This is the brother who is a Super Bowl winner, played his brother for the Super Bowl a couple of years ago. John Harbaugh talking about the entire situation. Take a listen, please.
How'd that conversation go? And do you have any opinion of everything that he's dealing with and what's going on in Michigan?
Yeah, I've talked to him quite a bit. I have a lot of opinions on it, obviously. I'm his brother, and I'm proud as heck of him. I'm really impressed with the way he's handled himself through all this. And it's been a long run. And about everything can be done to, his phones, his computers, and all that stuff have been looked at, and he's come through this thing with flying colors. And they really have, I don't know what they trying to get, but they don't have anything of substance, and I just think I'm proud of him. I think it's a real compliment to our family and to him, something for us to be proud of, because as kids can see this, you get kind of in this kind of a situation where you come under fire for whatever reasons, and you come out in a really good place doing the right thing all the time. And I'm really proud of that, and I think it's great for our family and kids, and it's just a great blessing in that sense. He's a great man, he's a great coach, his players love him, his coaches love him, and he stands tall through all this.
I know you got to get through Thursday, but knowing the schedule and their schedule, will you see him Saturday? Do you have plans to go to the game? If this goes the way it went last week, could you watch it with him? How will it go?
Well, that's a lot of good questions. I don't know. Let's get through Thursday night and see where we're at. But I'll definitely be pulling for him and the whole team on Saturday for sure. But we're thinking about Thursday night, 100%.
There you have it. Now, I understand some of you, or perhaps a lot of you, may not agree with his angle on this whole story. That's fine. I'm not trying to proselytize one side. That's just the brother of Jim. And what's he supposed to say? My brother, as we would perhaps term it in the South, my brother done wrong? I don't think so. Proud of his brother. He's fought through this thing valiantly. Flying colors was used in there. Yeah, he's come through this, y'all, in flying colors. I will say this, though, and I've said it from the beginning. This whole situation will not hurt the Michigan football team. If anything, it will ratchet it up. It will not hurt them. It is not a detriment to this team. Now, they'd love to have Jim there for games. He can be there, by the way, for practice and all that. This is just game suspensions. They're with him during the week. And if they're good enough, they're good enough. But this whole bit of extraneous noise and this back and forth is entertaining. I'm telling you, man, the Big Ten, you're becoming like the SEC. You got all this controversy going on. I thought we were the only ones down here who fought each other or backstabbed each other inside the same athletic department. I thought we were the only ones that did that. Big Ten stepping forward, man. I got to give them credit. Congratulations. You used to just be this boring league, kind of got stereotyped. The only team that had athletes, well, Ohio State, Penn State, and Michigan. That's about it. Kind of a plodding league. Everybody looks like Iowa. Which isn't true, but, we're trying to stereotype here, right? So congratulations. I'm a little jealous that all the controversy is up north right now. I don't like that. South, we're going to have to do something about this to offset all this good information the Big Ten's getting. Mike the Mad Dog, down in lovely Noonan, Georgia. Bill, the season has absolutely flown by. Seems like yesterday Georgia fans were complaining that Carson Beck was no good and wanting Bobo fired. Yeah, Bobo comes in. There's going to be a huge drop-off between Monken and Bobo. Coordinator, iffy at best. Carson Beck, been waiting. They're going to give him the ball first. How the hell is that going to go? Oh, my God, what are we going to do, Bill? It really wasn't that bad. And Carson Beck has played incredibly well. I think that's the only way you can term it. What's so complimentary about Carson Beck is, now think about it. First of all, he's played well, and Carson Beck has talent, and he has a lot of arm talent, and he's using it. But also compliment Kirby Smart and that entire Georgia structure, everybody, all the assistant coaches, all the personnel, because they have structured year after year now a roster meant to be able to absorb people moving on. Doesn't matter what position. Does not matter what position. There is not a roster in America built, developed to transition to the next wave of dudes. Any position, quarterback, D tackle, offensive tackle, you name it, DBs. structurally, they do it as well as you can do it. And when it's time for the next quarterback to step back up, the next quarterback's ready and willing and does develop, right? Absolutely does develop. Because Carson Beck has, individually, he's got talent. But let's also admit, he's surrounded with structurally the best roster in the country. Fundamentally, structurally, foundationally. So you can break in a quarterback, and it's not like Carson Beck's a new guy, right? But you can break in the next guy and protect him as well. It's not like Carson Beck is playing on a team where the defense is going to give up 40, and you better score every time you have the ball. There's a lot of protective mechanisms in that Georgia roster, on that Georgia team, that are fundamentally so well coached, so well developed. That's what it looks like. Folks, Georgia is what it looks like when you are geographically advantaged, meaning your school is located in a hotbed of talent around it, and you hire correctly, and so everything from the top down is run in the right manner. Talent, availability, check. And remember, they go get a lot of talent out of the state. Don't have to, but they do. They go anywhere. California, doesn't matter. Go wherever. New Jersey, down to Florida. Does not matter. They will go anywhere to get players. But that's what it looks like when you have everything in place from the top emanating down. That's what it looks like. And when you are geographically advantaged, like Florida is, and mightily struggling right now, Texas A&M is, which brand-wise has never broken through the way they have the ability to. That's what it looks like when you are properly led. Getting the hire right is way more important than throwing big-time recruits at that roster. That's next most important, but it's not more important than who the head coach is. That is a lie that everybody seems to believe, but has never been true. Jonathan down in Ocean Springs. Bill, the fall season is already over, isn't it? Maybe they get to 9 wins, etc., but they aren't winning the East or playing for the SEC championship game or going to the playoffs. I don't see how anything he does at this point is critical. Nico is the quarterback of the future, and the die is cast this season. Yeah, they could get to 9 wins with a bowl W. And again, that would not be a bad year. I still think it's a disappointment, particularly now when you go on the road and at halftime, you're not in the Florida game. You're out of that Florida game at halftime. And that Florida team that did that to you is not very good. Think about that. You go to Missouri, and the game certainly is in question at halftime. What was it? Was it 16-7 or 13-7 at halftime? Something like that. And Tennessee had opportunities to score, couldn't get it done. They don't score again. And then they do get blown out. Losing at Alabama, they were up, 20-7. That actually, and I don't know if anybody wants to call that a good loss, but Tennessee played well in that ball game. Couldn't hang on. Lost the momentum immediately in the third quarter, but they actually played well in that game up to that point. And then Alabama, who's better, took over and controlled the ball game. But the Florida road game, again, a team that's going to be 5-7, And the Missouri road game, where at the end you are blown the bleep out, is a very concerning item if you're Tennessee. If you are structurally well coached and sound, that's not happening. And again, Missouri's a good ball team. Not trying to take away from them. That team's going to end up, 10-2? Missouri's a good ball club. So the Vols, despite not having any type of catastrophic season, have issues that if you want to be prominent, you've got to address. I don't know if I trust them to address that or not, based on the last couple of years. That's where I'm at with them. Next year, they ought to be way better offensively. At quarterback, I think the running back situation, regardless, Dylan Sampson's back, Cameron Seldon, they're fine at running back. They'll be fine at running back. In general, they'll be fine at wide receiver. They'll be okay at tight end. They'll be good at tight end. Offensive line's got some holes here. I think that's what they'll go after big in the portal. Defensive front should be a strength for them. Linebacker ought to be pretty good. Secondary is a colossal disaster. Big-time moves needed there. Huge moves needed there. And we'll see what happens. Johnny Vegas, Bill, good news for all your listeners who are bemoaning the quick passage of the college football season. Bill, 90 days until college baseball. Yeah, and once we get into, what would that be, mid to late February, they'll start playing games and stuff. I'll tell you what I do occasionally is I will pull up some of these fall ball games, which are really not all that relevant, right? Fall ball is not the same as March, April, May. Not even close. But you're allowed to play another team. Wake Forest came here to play Vanderbilt. Tennessee played Virginia Tech. And I don't know who all played each other. But I'll pull those up, knowing that the stats in those are not something that you really want to make concrete. They're stats, but it's not the same as once we get into the spring. But I'll pull that stuff up and look at it. That's how much of a college baseball fan I've become. Anyways, we're coming right back. Omni Nashville Hotel.
Good morning. Really starting to build with some volume as we check it out live on 24 westbound up through the Hickory Hollow area. Coming in right now from Murfreesboro, Rutherford County towards Nashville. Brentwood traffic looks good right now as you come up through Williamson County on 65 going northbound here at Concord Road. 40, watch for some radar in the Mount Juliet area out there in Wilson County and in parts of Dixon County as well down the interstate. Prince's Hot Chicken is hiring at all 4 locations. You can order online today at princesshotchicken.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
You enjoy the thrill of gambling, but what happens when it becomes a problem? Whether you want to cut back or quit gambling altogether, the Gambling Clinic has been helping people change their gambling for over 2 decades. We're here to help, not to judge. The Gambling Clinic is a Tennessee-based clinic offering in-person and telehealth support to help people win back their life. Visit us at thegamblingclinic.com. This project is funded by the Tennessee Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services.
How about Thanksgiving, though? Right here at the Omni. Experiences matter here at the Omni. Celebrate Thanksgiving right here at Kitchen Notes with its amazing and expansive holiday brunch that can only add to the wonderful memories of the holiday season. The Kitchen Notes Thanksgiving Feast features multiple entrees, including sorghum, glazed ham, and pan-seared salmon, while the action stations boast smoked prime rib and tender roasted turkey with all the traditional fixings. You're gonna not want to forget that. It's so good. Also, save up some room for those very sweet endings. Thanksgiving brunch with family and friends at Kitchen Notes. Meals for children ages 5 and younger are complimentary. Make your reservations now by visiting kitchennotesnashville.com. Get you some delicious food.
Trusted for creative design and committed to both the function and aesthetics of your smile, Jody Jones Dentistry for 26 years has provided a wide range of general and cosmetic dentistry services along Nashville's Music Row and coming soon to Hermitage and Murfreesboro. The Nashville leader for cosmetic dentistry provides a unique luxury environment for patients who want his famous Hollywood smile. Just ask the country music stars, actors, athlete. Yeah, he was 8 years the dentist for the Predators to display his celebrity smile. To learn more, visit JodyJonesDDS.com or call 615-259-5100. The TSU Tigers men's basketball team of fifth-year coach Penny Collins are coming off a top 3 OVC finish last season and looking for much more this season. Led by preseason all-conference guards Marcus Fitzgerald and Kenyon Hodges, the Tigers face an impressive non-conference schedule that includes Oregon, Lipscomb, Austin Peay, Indiana State, and Liberty, and tip-off league play on December 28th at Gentry Center versus UT Martin. Hello, this is Greg Pogue inviting you to join longtime TSU broadcaster Albert Dawson on all of the games this season right here on Nashville Sports Radio WNSR.
The home of commitments and other stuff. The Bill King Show.
Located up in Nevada, Incline Village, Nevada. Bill, what are the odds A&M fans believe their new coach, whoever it is, Bill, is a home run hire? I was just asking Pat, you know that collage we had? Home run hire, great recruiter. I got lost in the purge. We're going to have to create a new collage. We'll do that. Remind me when we have a caller on to get them to lay that down. All you have to say is home run hire, great recruiter. Then we'll put it in a collage, and every time somebody announces the new guy, the head coach, then we'll play that clip. When somebody wants my opinion about who the new guy is, we'll play that clip. That comes from, we got a little bit of time here. TJ coming up top of hour 2. Dave Hooker, hour 2. Rusty, hour 3. JC Sherbert, third hour. I noticed this many, many decades ago. Since we're in the season where coaches are getting unhired, you're wondering who the team's going to get. Here is something I've noticed. I noticed this late 80s probably. Whoever the school is and whoever they hire, even if it's not a big name that's got a history to it and he's won a whole lot and all that, whoever it is, the fan base automatically becomes hypnotic. They do. They absolutely go into a trance and believe everything this guy says. How many times have you seen, maybe on Twitter, maybe on a message board, a fan say, when we hired this guy, I didn't quite know what to think, but after that press conference, dude, I am fired up. I'm fired the freak up. Man, he stood at that podium, he was in command, and he said, we're going to win here, by God. Fired me up, man. I had goosebumps on my neck from this guy. The hair on the back of my neck was standing up because of this guy. I didn't know what to think, Bill. I did not know what to think. I was maybe, admittedly, a little bit skeptical, but this guy, man, at that press conference, oh, God, right now I'm so fired up, I could run through 20 feet of concrete. So that's why we created the collage, home run, hire great recruiter, because everybody thinks that about the guy that they hired, no matter who it is. It could be an assistant who's never been a head coach before, and once that guy stands at the podium and you assume that hypnotic state, he's got you. Now, once they get out there and start losing and things don't go well, you pull out of that hypnotic state. But in the beginning, that guy could say, repeat after me. Mary had a little lamb, and you do it. He could say, repeat after me. Here's going to be our mantra for the season. Little Miss Muffet sat on a tuffet. And then you would repeat it. You would. You would repeat it. You'd say, this guy's got it, Bill. This guy is going to win, Bill. I just feel it. I feel it. No life, meaning Jim and Jupiter. Bill, can you start a new one, though, for Sunbelt Billy? First base hire, great recruiter. No, Kev, says Bill. 4 names off of the A&M list. Meyer, Lanning, Kiffin, and Sweeney. I don't think they were ever on the list. They might have been on somebody's Twitter list, but the realistic list, that's not happening. That's not happening. They'll get a good coach. I mean, I do think they'll get a good coach. Now, whether it's good enough to awaken what A&M could be, that's the question. A&M is the job where you've got to find the dude who can completely unlock the past history and assume what you're capable of. That's what you need at A&M. But, yeah, that's why we started that whole clip. Because, and we did it just to have fun, but when people would call and say, Bill, or they'd ask on Twitter, hey, Bill, what do you think about this guy got hired over here? Oh, my God. Incredible. Incredible. The fact of the matter is, most of the hires don't turn out. That's the true fact of the percentages. Most of the head coaching hires, if you go back and review them, the end result is it did not work out. More than 50% for sure. That would be some interesting data. If you went back, let's just say from 2000 to now, but you could go back further than that. Last 20 plus years, it took every head coaching hire in Division I football. And all you did was judge success or failure. That simple. Way more than 50%. Probably 70, 80% would be failure. Coming right back. Omni Nashville Hotel.
Good morning. Heavy traffic now on 24 westbound up through the Hickory Hollow area. We've had a couple of minor problems up through there so far as that traffic leaves Murfreesboro headed towards Nashville. It's already busy down through Millersville, but it's moving on 65 south as you come through that section of Sumner County as it builds also on Vietnam Vets here at Conference Drive coming through Hendersonville. Prince's Hot Chicken is hiring at all 4 locations. You can order online today. Check it out at princeshotchicken.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
And now, Tennessee Heat and Air is reminding motorists to slow down on our roadways, keep an eye out for kids at play, and never text and drive. This message is brought to you by Tennessee Heat and Air. For all your residential or commercial heating and air repairs, maintenance, and installations, give the pros a call today at 615-856-3610. 615-856-3610. That's Tennessee Heat and Air, going the extra mile for safety. They're professionals who care.
Dinner with Friends is a fine dining restaurant located in Nashville's prestigious West End. It features an elegant presentation and exceptional service. One of the first non-alcoholic restaurants in Nashville. They pride themselves in professional and courteous service. A popular choice among locals and tourists alike. If you're in town for the ball game or you're just visiting with friends, Dinner with Friends is the preferred location for those seeking a rich, modern restaurant with serene atmosphere and top-notch guest experience. Your server will uphold the high standards of etiquette and hospitality and guide you through a unique dining experience. Enjoy the ambiance and reconnect with friends. Specialty dining will feature a set menu, a dedicated server, and a personal chef. Enjoy a delicious combination of meats and vegetables at a very affordable price. There's no place in Nashville like it. A unique experience. Come and have dinner with friends. 1719 West End Avenue. To make a reservation, call right now. 615-730-9559. Dinner with Friends, a proud sponsor of TSU football on WNSR.
This is something I wish I'd known. Many people who live in Tennessee are eligible for help paying for healthy food for pregnant and new moms, their babies, and young children, but don't realize it. Family income can be higher than you think. There's a website called TennesseeMeals.com for more information. Assistance for healthy food for expectant moms and young children. This information I need to share. TennesseeMeals.com.
Brought to you by the Tennessee Justice Center, the Tennessee Association of Broadcasters, and
The Jim Rome Show.
There are still things that are triple U, including people who take pictures and then crop them and use them as their biopics. There's got to be another picture of you. You cannot take a picture with somebody else and then X that person out of the picture, crop them out, and leave yourself in, and then have it all off-centered, or maybe have somebody's claw still on your shoulder, or part of their ear still in the picture.
The Jim Rome Show, weekdays from 11 to 2 on Nashville Sports Radio. The best college football talk on the planet, presented by the Omni Nashville Hotel. The Bill King Show.
You want to try this out? Let's try it out on A&M. Let's just start with the 2000s. Coaches hired in the 2000s. Coach Fran, of course, left Alabama to go to A&M. That did not work out. Failure. Next, they hired Mike Sherman. That did not work out. Failure. Then they hired Kevin Sumlin. Actually, early on, pretty good. Ended up failure. Jimbo, next up, fired, unhired, failure. You can say that the last 1, 2, 3, 4, all the hires of the 2000s at A&M, every one of them ended up failure. Failure, not success. Big picture. Now, before Coach Fran came, R.C. Slocum, that was a good hire. Jackie Sherrill, before that, on the field, a good hire. Of course, they got in trouble. Remember, Jackie took that job in the early 1980s. Left Pitt, a top 2 to 3 program in America, to go to A&M for the money. Back then, we've talked about it. Every hire in the 2000s they've made. That's not unique to A&M. That's all over the place. You want to go back and do the Alabama thing? Now, I know some of this is subjective, but after Bear Bryant, they brought in Ray Perkins. Kevin Hagan would disagree with me on this one. Ray Perkins, not successful. Okay? After that, Bill Curry. All I know is Bill Curry got run out of town, took the Kentucky job. Nobody leaves Alabama for Kentucky. Football. Okay? You don't do that. Gene Stallings, good hire. Won a natty. Yeah, faded at the end, but you know what? That was a good hire. I cannot critique. Mike DeBose won the league that 1 year, but overall that was a catastrophe. The flop from Opp was a catastrophe. Dennis Franchione actually was doing well. Left because he felt like he'd been lied to. Took the A&M job. Mike Price, disaster, never even got on the field. Mike Shula, catastrophe. And now Nicky, obviously that one's been resoundingly excellent. Almost all hires don't work out when it comes to the head coach. Just the way it is, man. Now, who's been pretty steady? Ohio State's been pretty steady, right? John Cooper won a lot of games. He just couldn't beat Michigan. Sweater Vest, incredibly successful. Did not end up well, but that was a very good hire. Ended up well off the field, or ended up bad off the field with Tattoo Gate. That 1 year with Luke Fickell, that'd been tough on anybody. Urban Meyer comes in, wins a natty in a couple of years. Very good hire. Did not end well. Overall, incredibly good hire, right? And to date, I think they're in good shape. They've been pretty steady. Buckeyes, through the years with their hires, they've been really steady. They have. Yeah, they have. Time in Myrtle Beach. Bill Sweater Vest's press conference was boring, and all of Buckeye Nation were wondering who the hell he was. But when he gave that speech at half of that Michigan versus Ohio State basketball game, we all knew he was the right hire. Stood right up and called it. Craig in North Augusta. Bill, when Beamer hired Marcus Satterfield, I didn't think it was a home run hire, but a bunt. Foul out to the catcher hire. And boy, was I right. Ask Nebraska fans, Bill. Yeah, I think that's... And people transferred out because of that, too. Starting running back at Southern Cal, one of the receivers at Florida State, to name a couple, right? Brought a Buckeye in Texas. Bill, remember when Matt Campbell's name came up with every opening? Why wasn't his name coming up for the openings anymore? Because the resume's faded. His resume is not nearly as attractive. The overachieving and all of that is not as abundant as we were witnessing a few years back. Jim and Jupiter. Bill, would Mullen go back to Mississippi State? Would they take him back, Bill? I think it would be a great hire, as he has a bunch left in the tank, just not meant for a big job. Let me put it this way. I've talked to you folks about it. Dan Mullen has been a good coach. It just did not work out at Florida. Too big. He's right. Too much of a bright light on you there at Florida, and the expectations and the recruiting rankings, all that. We found out he's not meant for that. But he did a good job at Mississippi State. Here's the only catch. He's not a likable guy. Dan Mullen, the guy on set, the smiley guy, who's good. He does a good job on those TV shows where he's breaking down plays, talking about games at halftime, pregame. He's good at that. No, he does a good job. But he's not a real likable guy. And I know a lot of folks down there, even though he won, did not like being around him. I don't know how much of that's left over. We got a little distance there, right? But I'm just not so sure. And this comes from people I know that were there. Just didn't like the guy, man. I know, damn it, I don't know him well enough to know how likable he is, right? I'm just telling you what folks told me the entire time, including when he left. TJ coming up. Also Dave Hooker, Hour 2. Rusty, Hour 3. Rusty Mansell and JC Sherman. Omni Nashville Hotel.
560 AM, 95.9 FM, Brentwood, Nashville, 107.9 FM, Smyrna, Nashville's first 24-hour sports station. WNSR, Nashville Sports Radio.
ABC News, I'm Justin Finch. In Washington, a late-night vote averting a government shutdown. The Senate overwhelmingly approving the House's short-term spending bill, funding the federal government into the new year, with no wait this time for Israel and Ukraine. Violent clashes in Washington at the Democratic National Committee headquarters. A massive protest late last night calling for an Israel-Hamas ceasefire. Some members of Congress had to be evacuated, including California Congressman Brad Sherman.
Neither side, neither the right nor the left, should engage in criminal behavior, attack police, or even disrupt other people's meetings.
6 officers hurt, 1 arrest made so far. The Israeli military says its soldiers are still inside Gaza's largest hospital, the Al-Shifa medical facility, finding weapons, body armor, and other evidence that they say proves it was serving as a Hamas command center. This is ABC News.
It's easy to think all money managers are pretty much the same. But at Fisher Investments, we're clearly different.
Different? How? You sell high-commission investment products, right?
No. Fisher Investments doesn't sell any commission-based investment products.
Well, you must earn commissions on trades.
Nope, never at Fisher. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in our client's best interest. It's the highest standard of care for a financial advisor.
How do you know what's in their best interest?
We get to know our clients and then tailor a portfolio based on their goals and needs.
But you probably sneak in some hidden and layered fees.
No. We have one transparent management fee, structured so we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, you really do look out for your clients.
That's because our top priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. It might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments. Clearly different money management.
Investments and securities involve the risk of loss.
Hey Nashville, join Joe Fisher and me, Jonathan Schaefer, for the Mid-State Checkdown High School Football Game of the Week. This Friday, we have a Class 3A state quarterfinal playoff matchup with Liberty Creek at East Nashville. Pre-game coverage starts at 6:45. Last Friday, our Mid-State Checkdown High School Football Player of the Week, presented by Jackson Boone Racing, was Liam Hackett, kicker at MBA High School. Liam kicked the game-winning field goal in overtime to defeat Ensworth.
For MBA to advance. Good snap, good hold, kick on the way, and the kick is good! MBA advances. The Big Red in overtime.
MBA beat Ensworth 17-14 and will travel to Chattanooga to play McCallie in a Division II AAA state semifinal matchup. It's Liberty Creek at East Nashville for the Mid-State Checkdown High School Football Game of the Week, powered by Jody Jones Dentistry, exclusively on WNSR, Nashville Sports Radio.
I've got a unique vacation idea for you that's right here in the United States. If you're ready for a vacation that's fun and downright affordable, listen up. It's driving distance for many of you, so no planes, no airline delays, no hassles. It's Branson, Missouri, the entertainment capital of the Midwest. Live music for everyone. Branson has 3 beautiful, enormous lakes, water attractions, live shows, great food, and tons of entertainment. It's a perfect vacation for you and your family, or if you're retired and you want to have a great time. And you can stay stay in Branson for as low as $99 a night. Please understand, this is not a timeshare offer. It's a real vacation for as little as $99 a night. We've got a free vacation guide we want to send you right now. All you have to do is call for complete details. Get your free Branson, Missouri guide right now by calling this number.
800-413-3953. 800-413-3953. 800-413-3953. That's 800-413-3953.
From the Strike and Spare Family Fun Center studio, it's the Bill King Show.
He was like a god walking amongst mere mortals.
Go get it, dog.
I'm a man. He had a voice that could make a wolverine purr.
Heart is sitting on a firecracker.
And suits so fine, they made Sinatra look like a hobo.
It's a fantastic day for the United States of America.
It's the Bill King Show. Call or text now. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Call us or send us a text on the WNSR text line. 615-844-5600. 615-844-5600. Call or text. Same number.
Red 7! I don't know what Red 7 means.
Brought to you by Omni Nashville Hotel, 5th Avenue, downtown.
Hot rock! That's what we call a sack lunch!
I do have are a very particular set of skills. Skills that make me a nightmare for people like you.
And college football. They play the Lions of North Alabama, and then it's the Gators. TJ, what's the game plan? And I don't mean on the field, but just this week, getting ready for an opponent that most everybody on the team's probably never heard of.
Yeah, and this is no shot at North Alabama, but they're an FCS, but they're also not even good. Like they're 3-8 at the lower level too. So yeah, I mean I think you're going to see really limited action from some of your superstars. Florida State doesn't care about we got to go out and beat this team by 75 or we're going to get disrespected. So I think it's it's senior day, so it's the last time that Jordan Travis and Jared Verse and a lot of those guys are ever going to play inside of Doak. And so I think they'll play, but I wouldn't be shocked if Keon and Johnny were pretty limited. They've been banged up. The offensive line has been banged up. You certainly don't want to risk injury. And you want to get reps for as many of your younger guys as you can. Florida State's played some closer games. I mean, I think they've done fine in kind of flexing their muscle, but they've run away with games late. And so, yeah, I think you want to twofold: keep guys healthy and get some other guys some reps because this really is a 2-week stretch where you're working on getting ready for UF.
Along those lines, Jim and Jupiter ask TJ about getting healthy. You just touched on that. He said specifically offensive line, and will Robert Scott ever play?
Yeah, I think Scott will be back at some point, but yeah, I mean, he's certainly been out for a minute and hasn't been super effective this year, just kind of battling with stuff all season. I mean, I wouldn't bet my life savings that he's back and plays a ton, but I would think that, you get such a long break off after the ACC championship. If you can win your next 3 games, you may see him in the playoff, which would be a big help. Yeah, on the offensive line specifically, I do. I think they'll rest some guys this week. You probably could dominate North Alabama with your, 8th through 13th best offensive, lineman grouping. And so I don't necessarily know that they sit their top 7 guys or anything like that, but I think you could see a lot of rotation. You could see a lot of young guys in there, and get a lot of guys reps on Saturday to kind of try and keep as many people on that offensive line healthy as you can.
How much do you look at the Gators this week as a staff?
I mean, unfortunately, all the good games are on at the same time. We play at 6:30. That game's at 7:30. There's something else I was looking at that I wanted to watch. It's like the late game, so probably not too much. But, I am interested in it. One thing I'll say is I don't think that team has quit. I mean, they're not very good, especially defensively. But, they've done a good job continuing to fight. What does that look like on a cold Missouri night when you're probably down a couple of scores? Does that effort stay up? I mean, even if they did have a lack of effort, I still think that they'll come out and kind of give their all, at least to start the game against FSU next week. So, I'm interested in it. I don't think it's beyond the realm of possibilities that Florida could pull off the upset. I mean, they're not a 24-point dog. I mean, it's what, 11, 12, somewhere in there. So, their offense actually looked pretty good last week. I mean, 35 points in Baton Rouge. I know that LSU's not got a great defense, but 35 points in Baton Rouge is still 35 points out there. So, if they don't want to get into a shootout, but if they get into a shootout, their offense moves pretty well. So we'll see. But I'm very interested in it. I think it's big for recruiting. They end the season losing 5 straight games. Finish up 5-7 in Billy's second year. I mean, they've already had 3 decommits in the last 4 or 5 days. Rumored to be another 1 or 2 coming. I think that doesn't bode well for him overall. So yeah, I'm interested to see how they play this weekend for sure.
Sam Dog in Middle Georgia wants to know, how is the fan base at Florida State dealing with this return to success? And let me add to it, does this have the same feel to it as they were building into the 90s?
Man, I'm going to age myself a little bit here, but I don't know that I can answer that one super well.
Right.
But I think with the recruiting class, it does a little bit more so like what you kind of, and again, aging myself a little bit, but more so like what you were feeling in like 2010, 2011, 2012, where Florida State was landing like the elite of the elite recruits. And you kind of could tell, okay, they're going to be a national contender for a minute. And what's different is in 2010 and 2011, they were fine, right? 2010, I think they went to the Peach Bowl. 2011, I think they played, or 2010, they went to the Citrus Bowl. 2011, they played in the Peach Bowl. 2012 in the Orange Bowl. So there was a progression. But what's different now is that Florida State is probably going to the playoff while they're doing it. And so they're probably ahead of schedule. But, man, they've got some program changers at, in this recruiting class, namely K.J. Bolden. I mean, he's a kid that comes in and, I'll compare him to different athlete, obviously, but I'll compare him to Harold Perkins, right, where he comes in and he changes your defense because of how good he is. The LSU fans are going to get ticked off that I just said that. But, they're trying to flip Jeremiah Smith from Ohio State. He's that same kind of guy. If they were able to get him a program changer, 5-star quarterback in Luke Kromenhoek. And so I think that is the feel. It is the feel of like, okay, well, we're good now, but they're gearing up. I mean, they've got a top 3 class right now, and they're sitting better for 2025. So if they can start to stack that, and you already know how good they are in the portal, this could be kind of back to that, Florida State's in it every year feeling.
Is Florida State the top threat for Jeremiah Smith, as you mentioned, long-time previous commit to Ohio State, and some have ranked the top player in the country?
Yeah, I think so. I think, and he's still committed to Ohio State now. So, but I think so. I think that winning matters with these top kids at times, and I think Florida and Miami gave it their best shot, but I don't think they're close. I think that he wants to play in an offense that looks competent. That's certainly not Miami. He wants to play for a team that's at least competing for a bowl game. That's not Florida. So I think that if he was to pick anywhere else and not wind up at Ohio State, I think it's FSU or he stays committed to the Buckeyes.
Talked about this with Gator Dave probably a month ago, and the conversation went kind of like this. Florida starts losing Obviously, their defense has absolutely deteriorated. But then the recruits publicly start decommitting. And this is before this started happening. I said that is a very ill pathway for Billy Napier. Now, I do think he gets year 3 no matter what, but it's not looking promising.
Yeah, it's tough. I think their strategy was right. I think that it was smart to try and get as many guys committed over the summer. There was almost, and I don't mean this as a dig, but from what I was told, like when all those guys were committing over the summer and they had the top 3 class and they were just, they had a run of 3 days where they got 7 commits. Well, 4 of those now are decommitted, like they're left with 3 of them. But I think that was still the smart thing to do. Try and capitalize on all the momentum, try and build up all the goodwill. They're still holding on to the number 5 class in the country. So it's not falling apart completely yet. So I think the idea of kind of high pressure, commit now, watch and see what we're going to do on the field, and then hold on for dear life was the way to go. Because you ain't convincing anybody now to commit to UF. No elite prospects are looking at UF at this moment and saying, oh, yeah, I need to go do that. They did a good job of getting L.J. McCray before they started this 3-game losing streak, what might be a 5-game losing streak. And so I still think it was the right move to go out and get everybody and then, like I said, hold on for dear life. But at the end of the day, you got to win. You got to back it up. And I think a lot of the recruits were pretty high on life after they beat Tennessee. Once they got to 5-2, there was a lot of hype around the game in Jacksonville. Florida was even, I think they were fringing on being ranked, or maybe they were 25th or something like that in some polls. And so a lot of excitement there, and the recruits were saying, yeah, this is what they said they were going to do. They were going to be better. They were going to improve. And then since then, obviously they've gone on a 3-game losing streak, and they're going to be a double-digit dog, this weekend and next. I think the recruits end up saying maybe this wasn't all we thought it was. So, yeah, it's tough. But it happens to everybody, right? You start losing games, you go on a 5-game losing streak to end the year, you're going to have some kids start to look around. The promises of other schools, become a little bit sweeter, and kids are like, I'm not doing this.
Sam Dog asks, what's the status of Norvell's contract? He's making about $8 million now, and I just looked it up, TJ. He's good through 26.
Yeah, and I believe that once he gets to the last couple of years there, he's making over $10 million a year. He just got an extension over this offseason, so I don't even know if that's the same one.
Yeah.
Or if there's one that you're seeing. But, yeah, he's going to be paid. By the time we get there, it might not be. But they'll probably restructure. I'm sure Sexton is the one that floated his name for the A&M job on these hot boards so that he could get another raise, and it'll probably work just fine. So, yeah, I think that by the time he gets to 2026, he'll be a top 10 paid coach in college football. I think he's on target to make more than both Napier and Cristobal here in the next year or so, because his contract escalates. So, I think he's pretty locked in. I think they'll do anything they can to hold on to him and keep him for as long as they possibly can.
All right, a quick one here because the music's kicking us off. No Kevin Chicago. Is Florida State close to flipping McCray, the defensive lineman out of Daytona Beach?
I got a video on that at 10 a.m. Check out the YouTube. It's like 10% right now. I don't think they're super close. Long way to go, though.
All right, TJ, appreciate it, man. See you next week.
Thanks, buddy.
Dave Hooker, Off the Hook Sports, when we come back. Omni Nashville Hotel.
Good morning. It's busy out here in a couple of spots like I-24 westbound, leaving Rutherford County, Murfreesboro towards Nashville up through the Hickory Hollow area. It's increased also on 840 around Paytonsville through that section of Williamson County. It's building pretty good on 65 up from Murray County into Williamson. As you come up through the Spring Hill area, it's quite crowded actually going northbound. They're on 65 at 840. Princess Hot Chicken is hiring at all 4 locations. Check out that menu today at princesshotchicken.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
It's just a few cocktails at happy hour.
There aren't any cops around.
After every game, we always have a few. It's no big deal.
It was just a few drinks. I'm good.
Hey, I can hold my liquor.
I drink and drive all the time.
If you put away some drinks, put away your keys. Fans don't let fans drive drunk. Brought to you by the Tennessee Highway Safety Office.
We all know that Nashville life can get hectic. In the middle of all the madness that is life, don't forget to take care of yourself. Treat yourself to Nashville's ultimate relaxation experience at Mocara Spa at the Omni Nashville Hotel. With services for men and women, Mocara Spa at the Omni Nashville Hotel is your one-stop shop for full body treatment. Begin your experience in the exquisite relaxation room, then enjoy a full body treatment or even a couples massage before finishing in the salon. Located on the 4th floor of the Omni Nashville Hotel, Mocara Spa is Nashville's highest quality self-care oasis. To book your experience or gain information on packages, call Mocara Spa today at 615-761-3600. Again, 615-761-3600. Or log on to theomnihotel.com. And with every booking, you'll have free valet parking and rooftop pool access to enjoy the Music City skyline. And through Labor Day, enjoy the 4th floor spa terrace for only $20. Mocara Spa at the Omni Nashville Hotel, 5th Avenue, downtown.
As a Middle Tennessee-based company, Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers is committed to helping our community. This November, we are honoring our local veterans. Strike and Spare is partnering with We Are Building Lives, a local foundation dedicated to helping veterans get back on their feet. So far, more than 1,100 homeless veterans have been helped off the streets through the We Are Building Lives Foundation. During November, for every $5 donation made to We Are Building Lives, Strike and Spare will give you a free game of bowling. Visit any of our 5 area Strike and Spare centers to donate or visit strikeandspare.com to donate today and help our heroes find a way home.
This is the Greg Vogue and John Burton Show.
I'm not surprised, and I think Kevin Byard gets it.
Producer Debbie is not happy.
Well, she shouldn't be. When they ran off Jeff Fisher, that no one was happy about that because everybody loved him. It was all business. He's due $14 million next year, okay? Not going to be on the roster next year. Get something for him.
Greg Vogue and News Channel 5's John Burton, WNSR, Nashville Sports Radio.
College sports. Bill King knows a few things.
Hey, Hooker, off the hook sports on Thursday. Joins us. Dave, the best football team in America is coming to Rocky Top, at least until somebody proves otherwise. The best football program is coming to Rocky Top. And Tennessee is coming off another unraveling on the road. What's the status of this team, this program?
Well, they say all the right things. The morale is as good as can be. I mean, I don't think it can be great because if you look at the 2 collapses late in the season, at least last year with the South Carolina game, you could point to Jeremy Banks and some infighting for this team. Saturday, other than Missouri throwing a defense at Tennessee that they weren't ready for, I mean, what's the excuse and what's the reasoning other than that's just who this football team is? So as far as morale, I think being back at home helps. I think it's a mature team who typically doesn't play 2 bad games back-to-back. They tend to rebound pretty well if you look at their history. So given those things, I think Tennessee will play well. That doesn't mean that they'll win, and that doesn't mean that they'll even cover the 10 or so point spread. But I somehow think they'll play pretty well.
The wide receiving core and its health status, what is the latest?
Yeah, it's just a fiasco. I mean, they weren't as deep as they needed to be at that position, as it turns out, because they're young players, and Chaz Nimrod kind of leads that campaign, haven't developed as much as they need to. Now, this could either be a strength of Josh Heupel's offense or it could be a weakness. It depends on how you want to look at it. He likes to go with his three main guys out there. Now, when one of those three main guys gets hurt, like Brew McCoy, then suddenly you're struggling, because I don't think Chaz Nimrod's the natural to fit in there and dictate coverage as a number one wide receiver. And frankly, I don't think they had that guy. They toyed with Dante Thornton and putting him at wideout instead of the slot position just a little bit, and had some success there. And we've been really hard on Dante Thornton at Off Thug Sports, but in the past couple of weeks, it looked optimistic, and now he's out for the remainder of the regular season. So it's about to get a lot tougher, because if you look at last year, they started with Cedric Tillman. He's a receiver that defensive coordinators are scared of. It dictated coverage, and then in came Brew McCoy, who I've had an NFL scout tell me that he is the best overall NFL prospect on this entire Tennessee football team. So he dictated coverage. Now, McCoy gets hurt this year, and you go to Chaz Nimrod. No offense against Nimrod, but he's just not a guy who right now at this point in his career scares opposing secondaries.
And Squirrel White is a really good receiver. I don't know if he could he be your feature number one receiver? I guess he is, but what level is that?
Well, I think it's how you define that. So, going back to last year, I think Tillman and then McCoy dictated coverage to open things up for the slot. So, really, Jalen Hyatt, for the casual eye, you would look and say he's the featured receiver. And he caught more balls and accumulated more yards. But I don't know that he was the guy that defenses were the most worried about. And this year, you would like for Brew McCoy to be over at that wideout position that defenses adjust to, and then Squirrel White's open all the time like Jalen Hyatt was last year. But can you really dictate coverage at the slot receiver position? I don't think so. So I think it's kind of got to be a yeoman's effort of guys have to win one-on-one battles against defensive backs, and these are some of the best defensive backs in the nation. But I think you've just got to win one-on-one battles and get open. And, I go back to that slant, and I actually thought of you towards the end of the game, the Missouri game, when Squirrel White's wide open and a slant comes in at about 120 miles an hour and it misses him. And you've got to hit those things, too, to keep defenses honest. And so they've got to win one-on-one battles and get open, and Joe's got to hit them in stride.
One name, true freshman, and maybe he's just not ready, Nathan Laycock, the receiver.
Well, I think that's one of the guys that you've got to scratch your head about a little bit. So, and I would put Nimrod in that scenario, and then Webb as well. So you look at these guys that were pretty highly touted, and why are they not ready yet? Well, I think one of Josh Heupel's strengths is also a weakness. He wants to settle on those three wide receivers, and they're going to get the most reps in games. They're going to get the most reps in practice, and that's how he likes to do things. So for those that don't know, they don't sub during a drive, so you can't put one guy in and get him a couple of snaps. And he showed last year that he likes to stick with his main three. I think that works a lot, and I think it's smart. I think it's the way David Cutcliffe helped Tennessee's offense get back to prominence in the mid-2010s. But I don't know that it helps you build depth. So it's a double-edged sword. It helps you in one regard, but can kind of hurt you on the flip side. And I think now, especially with Thornton out, Brew McCoy in September, you're seeing that Tennessee doesn't have the developed depth behind those guys.
Tim in Huntsville wants to know there's a big list, Dave, of players that could come back. They could leave as well. I mean, a big list which will dictate roster management. I know we're not to the end of the regular season, and you've talked a little bit about Mays because you know him, but what's your best estimate with that grouping coming and going?
Well, I think you would hope, and there are two ways to go about coaching nowadays in college football, I believe, and I think it's pretty simple. You're Alabama or you're Kirby Smart, where you say, listen, when you're recruiting a kid, you say this is going to be a tough place to play. It's not for everybody. It might be 2 years before you play, but, and here's the big but, you're going to be ready for the NFL. Whereas I think other programs fall under the Tennessee category, and that's kind of the kumbaya category. It's a good culture. You feel good about playing for Tennessee, and I think that opens the door for guys to make decisions that are 50-50 and return to the program. It better, because you just mentioned Mays as one, but there are a lot of other guys, a long list that Tennessee would love to come back and kind of bridge that gap that seems to be out there on Tennessee's roster between Pruitt guys who had major impacts, like Hyatt Hooker last year, and then there seems to be a little bit of a dip before you get to some of the better Josh Heupel guys. So you hope that feel-good culture brings those guys back for another year, and you hope NIL money brings people back. So not to get sidetracked, but people ask me about Walter Nolan, the defensive tackle at Texas A&M. Could he come back to Tennessee, where he played high school football for the Mighty Panthers, my alum, Powell High School? Could he come back? Well, yeah, but he's evaluated by On3 at $500,000. So he would, I would imagine, have to leave NIL deals for the Aggies and come back to Tennessee. Now, that being said, Tennessee has some good NIL deals in place for the guys that we're talking about that have a year of eligibility. So maybe, I know it's not quite NFL money, but maybe that's one of the enticements to come back for another season.
Wrigley Field vault. Bill asked Dave why defensive coordinator Tim Banks completely changed his defensive philosophy from aggressiveness to passive. And please don't say because of the injury to Hayden.
You beat me on that one.
Yeah.
I think that I do think that was a small factor. Okay,
right.
So I think that when you look at Tim Banks and what he's done, he's still in the process of having to surprise some opposing offenses. I have been surprised by the fact that they've been a little bit less aggressive. However, with the Missouri game in particular, I mean, some of that has to fall on Tennessee's players that lost gap integrity. I mean, I don't think he taught anybody in the week before the Missouri game to lose gap integrity, let a running back who physically is probably about the 12th best in the SEC run for all kinds of yards, let a quarterback break contain on a regular basis. I don't think he taught him to do that. Listen, last week was about a couple of things. Tennessee got out-coached because Missouri brought out a totally new-looking defense that they weren't prepared for, but they also got outplayed. I mentioned a couple of the issues that Tennessee had from a defensive standpoint. So is some of that Banks' fault? Yes, but I think Tennessee's players carry a lot of the blame, their defensive players, for what happened in Columbia.
Do you think Heupel will do anything staff-wise, for example, the secondary?
Well, I mean, if you look at Willie Martinez, he's the only guy who doesn't have a contract after this year, and I don't know that he absolutely loves being a defensive coach in the staff, because you're put under such pressure by the offense when it's running like it should, i.e. last year. But, I wouldn't be surprised if there was a change at that position. Again, he's the only one that didn't get a contract extension past this year, and he also got the smallest raise. So whether or not he wants to leave or because he doesn't like being a defensive coach with this offense that you have to be ready and play 85 plays for, or Tennessee wants to make a change, I don't think that move would be surprising in the offseason at all.
Dave Hooker, Off the Hook Sports. Mike the Mad Dog down in Newnan, Georgia, wants to know how fast is Nico picking up the offense, and would he be ready if Milton went down?
Well, it is funny that you brought that up because I visited with Jacob Warren, Tennessee tight end. If you go to offthehooksports.com, he said that he has gained several pounds, and he's noticeably different. They're road roommates, Jacob Warren and Nico are. So I was told from the get that size aside and frailty aside that he was ready to play as early as August or September, but that was a concern and that this is Joe Milton's team. But I'll try to get some exact numbers about how much weight he's put on. But Jacob Warren said it's clear that he has put on more weight, and that, yeah, he's probably still a little too thin, but I'll go back to Peyton Manning was thin, Casey Clausen was thin. So, I mean, they're not going to make a change at this point. I think that die has been cast, but I would have played him earlier in the season despite being thin. And but as far as being an elite playmaker, Jacob is that he has no doubt that he's going to be that guy. Just thinks he needs to add a few more LBs.
Another question here. We probably got a minute and a half. And I guess I've asked you this the last several weeks, but we're about 2 weeks and change from the portal. Any juicy rumors, anything that you can point to date? And again, they can't even be in the portal yet.
Yeah, I haven't. I've done some digging on that. I've asked around, and I mentioned the Walter Nolan thing. Yeah, I don't know right now. I think there will be a different philosophy. I'll tell you that. I think that like a McAllen Castle is a guy that goes from a smaller program and goes up, will be more along the lines of what they try to do. I think they would love to address the linebacker position and the offensive line position first and foremost. But as far as solid names, I haven't heard of any. I watch for an A&M guy, Nolan or not, for them to make a strong push for, and then watch for Florida. I'm hearing rumors that guys are going to want to bounce for Florida. We've already seen some of it, but that those numbers could be startling big. So there are a lot of players that have lost faith in Billy Napier, I'm told. So watch for some transfers that could come from within the SEC.
Maybe 20 seconds. Royal Payne, is there a concern, he asked, about teams figuring out Heupel's offense?
I think there is. I think if you have elite talent, you can figure it out and still get 60 hung on you. So I don't think they have elite talent this year as far as Joe Milton fitting into the system, and I think that's what's hamstrung them more than any other figuring out of an offense.
Running back and defensive line look to be strengths in the future, though, I would think.
Look to be what? You broke up just a little bit.
Strengths in the future.
Yeah, that very, very much so. I definitely agree.
Off the Hook Sports, and that's where they can go order your book, correct?
Absolutely. Celebrate 98 25th anniversary. Love to see people check it out.
Thanks, Dave. Appreciate it, man.
Thanks. All right.
Dave Hooker. Top of the hour, Rusty Mansell. On 3, right there in Georgia. Dude knows it inside now. Omni Nashville Hotel.
Good morning. There is a couple of accidents out here. Still running slow on Vietnam Vets coming westbound at Conference Drive, especially coming through Hendersonville. Still wants to load up pretty good on 24 westbound up through the Hickory Hollow area coming in from Rutherford County. There's been a couple of minor accidents out here the last few minutes. Most have been moved over to the side like that when we had 40 eastbound near 440 over on the west side. Get rid of that old junk car today by calling Cash for Junk Cars Boswell Towing. Call 615-979-7897. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Jackson Boone Racing. The youngest driver at age 19 to win the coveted Pro Late Model Series Championship at Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. Jackson Boone Racing. A local kid and Page High graduate who's been winning races since he was 8 years old. Jackson Boone Racing. Come join Red Street Records and Roy's Meat Service along with the Boone Group, a market leader for your home financing needs. In supporting this rising star, visit JacksonBooneRacing.com to see how you can be a part of the journey and join us running up front. Jackson Boone Racing. Located at 5410 Murfreesboro Road in the heart of Laverne, City Slickers is one-stop shopping for all your liquor, beer, and wine needs and has been a multiple winner annually in the Best of Rutherford County voting for Best Liquor Store and Top Wine Shop. Featuring the lowest prices, the best customer service with unsurpassed knowledge, City Slickers offers the largest craft beer selection in Rutherford and southeastern Davidson counties and has beer on tap at its Growler filling station. City Slickers also sells mixers, sodas, snacks, tobacco products, and the Tennessee Lottery, and can place special orders and assist with all your events and even wedding planning. Make sure you follow City Slickers on all their social media or just give them a call at 615-280-7469. That's 615-280-7469. Located in the heart of Laverne, City Slickers.
Woods Equipment Company would like to recognize and salute our veterans and local men and women in uniform. Let's remember them with our thoughts, prayers, and especially letters and packages from home. Our support will keep America strong. This important message is courtesy of Woods Equipment Company at 600 Davidson Street in Nashville, where they feel our area is a great place to live and raise a family. Call Woods Equipment Company at 615-256-5639.
The Tennessee State Tigers, riding in the first winning season since 2017, close out the regular season Saturday at Nissan Stadium against longtime rival Tennessee Tech in a matchup in the new Big South OVC Alliance. Hello, this is Greg Pogue inviting you to join former Titans wide receiver Chris Sanders and me on the game broadcast Saturday right here on Nashville Sports Radio, WNSR. Pre-game show at 1:30, kickoff at 2. That's Tennessee State versus Tennessee Tech in the season finale Saturday afternoon right here on Nashville Sports Radio.
His body clock is set to college football and nothing else. It's Bill King.
You're listening to The Bill King Show, the only college football radio show proven to make you smarter.
Need to remember when these coaches get unhired, NCAA rules are that the players immediately on that roster have 30 days in their own portal. It's not the same as the portal coming up here the Monday after the championship weekend, conference championship weekend. Totally separate. Michigan State, I guess their portal would be over though, right? Think so. But, although there's another one. So basically, if your coach gets unhired during the season, your head coach, you get that portal, and then you get the other portal. You get the one coming up in December, which now is down to 30 days. I believe it goes all the way to like January the 2nd or 3rd, something like that. But it's a 30-day window now instead of 45 last year. And then there's that spring 15-day window opportunity. Mississippi State players, and I think several, 3-4 of them announced on Wednesday they were getting in the portal and are available. One of them was posting stats and clips. Yeah, I mean, an SEC dude. It's all legit. That's a new rule. A couple of years. What's that rule? This year 2 of that rule. It's a relatively new rule. And now think about it from an A&M point of view. The only problem with the A&M point of view is those kids are so well taken care of in most cases that I don't think you can poach A&M's players, which there'd be a lot of attractive opportunities with that roster if you could poach them, and seduce them with money. I don't know that you could go to Walter Nolan, and again, he played his senior year in Knoxville. He's not from Knoxville. He's from the Memphis, northern Mississippi area, but he played his last year at Powell High School in Knoxville. And so there's that connection. What if is Tennessee poaching him? I'm sure Tennessee would love to have him, but are you going to be able to attract him based on money? Because A&M can do whatever, and it's all on the up and up, right? I mean, this is the real world we're in now. Now, Tennessee Spires Group is supposed to be maybe the best collective out there, but I don't know that you can take the A&M kids that you'd want to poach and completely woo them because of the money. You'd have to woo them with the promise of, okay, we've got the money that you're already making. We can do that, but you're in a better situation here. You can win or something. And we don't even know, they haven't met their new head coach yet because there is no new head coach. Sometimes the new guy comes in and everybody becomes just, wow, I'm staying, baby. This guy fired me up. That can happen to players too. That absolutely can happen to players. Let's say, and I'm just making this one up, but what if Mike Elko was announced as the coach? Now, I don't know how many of those players, you'd have to be older to know him, but some of them would know him. But let's say he goes in there, meets with the team, says, here's what we're going to do, and for you guys on defense, man, that's my side of the ball. We're about to kick some serious tail here. And they have the personnel to do that. I don't know how much poaching you're going to be able to do. We'll see. I don't know. But I don't know if it's as easy, particularly in their situation, as just saying we're going to come get some of those dudes. Good luck. Yeah, good luck. No, Kev said, Bill, the purple Vandy people removed the interim tag on the head coach. You know, he's what is he, 5-5? Why not? What are you going to do at Northwestern? I think this guy's probably earned the right to be the head coach and have that interim tag removed. We'll see if he can maintain anything there. The chances of maintaining there are negligible, right? As well as that guy seems to have stabilized the Evanston, Illinois program, the chances of him maintaining and stabilizing that over 3, 4, 5 years is 10% maybe. And again, that's complimenting what he's done today. Give that guy the credit he's due. But the bigger picture, let's get a wider span of things, right? Let's take the scope and broaden it out to about 2026, 2027. What are the chances that he's maintaining where he's at right now? He's 5-5 out 3, 4, 5 years. And the answer is slim and none. That's the only problem. Yes, it's probably the right thing to do in the moment. Big picture, it probably doesn't matter. I know that's harsh, but it's just true. It probably does not matter. You're just rearranging chairs on the Titanic. Deck chairs on the Titanic, you're rearranging them. Why? It's about to go down. What's the point? I don't know. Just thought I'd rearrange these chairs right here. Not only is it the B1G, a tough league, but you're bringing in some monster dudes. Oregon, UW, the Trojans, whoever the new guy is at UCLA, if indeed Chip is unhired. It gets way worse. You can't hide in that Western Division anymore either. See, that's another item. It's going to get way worse for Northwestern. Omni Nashville Hotel.
Good morning. Still pretty crowded out here through Hermitage right now as we stare at it live on 40 westbound at Central Pike. All that traffic continues to build in from Wilson County, Mount Juliet area, headed towards Hermitage. Still a little bit slow, sometimes with that heavy volume on 24 West up through Antioch, in from Rutherford County. Still a lot of volume coming down Vietnam, Vets westbound right now through Hendersonville, headed towards Conference Drive. And then you get on to 65. That can run slow sometimes. Certain pockets there on 65 South through Madison. Hey, Prince's Hot Chicken is hiring in all 4 locations. Check them out today at princeshotchicken.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Do you want to work at the OG of hot chicken, Prince's Hot Chicken Tanger, Outlet Mall, 4060 Cane Ridge Parkway, Suite 102 in Antioch? Prince's is looking for fun, energetic, and friendly smiling faces as food runners and cashiers. They're also looking to create an amazing culinary team to carry on the Prince's tradition. Interested in working in a great environment with great hourly wages? Submit a resume to Prince's Hot Chicken AFH at gmail.com or fill out an application on the Prince's Hot Chicken website. That's princeshotchicken.com. princeshotchicken.com. When you've experienced the loss of a loved one, you can trust SAG Funeral Home to guide you through the process of honoring their life. At SAG Funeral Home, they pride themselves in serving families in Nashville and surrounding areas with dignity, respect, and compassion. The staff is experienced in a variety of funeral services and can help you celebrate your loved one, no matter your religion, culture, or budget. Family and veteran-owned funeral home and cremations now are handled all in one location. We'll help create a personalized experience to pay tribute to your loved one's unique life. Ask about the pre-planning service as well. SAG Funeral Home, serving Nashville and Middle Tennessee for over 40 years. In your time of need, you need someone you can trust who can provide comfort to your family in a very professional way. SAG Funeral Home, 1503 Buchanan Street. Call today, 615-244-5044. 615-244-5044. SAG Funeral Home, for comfort and care in your time of need. SAG Funeral Home, proud sponsor of TSU football on WNSR.
Attention high school sports fans, are you an armchair official? You know, the parent or fan who constantly yells at the referees and loves to let everyone know just how bad you think they are. Well, if you think you could do better, then get in the game and prove it. It's time for you to suit up and make the calls where they actually count. Every sport in Tennessee needs more officials. Sign up today at highschoolofficials.com.
It's a Bill King Show.
We are college football centric. That is the sun that warms our planet that we live on. Our planet actually isn't flat or round. It's an oblong spheroid. And we are here to proselytize about it, edify it every day on this here radio show.
Weekday mornings beginning at 6 on Sports Radio 560 on 95.9 FM.
The old BCS computer runs on diesel fuel and dreams. We know this because it lives in Bill King's garage.
Later, J.C. Sherbert in that third hour. Georgia Dog down on the Emerald Coast says, it's one thing to coach up a group of hungry 3-stars, maybe a couple of 4-stars, like Duke, or perhaps like Billy Napier, than it is to keep a bunch of 5-star egos, keep them happy. Two different levels of coaching. Yeah, it is. If you're a recruiting school, meaning a recruiting rankings school, that's good. Bringing in dudes is good. Maintaining that ecosystem isn't easy. And it can actually get toxic, depending on the egos involved, right? You're bringing in guys that have been told since at least junior high just how good they are. Every step of the way, they're the best dude. They're not used to anything else. Everybody, the recruiting rankings, all their buddies, their families, their girlfriend, whoever. Everybody's patting him. Attaboy, you're good, man. You've always been the dude. And people react to the next level different ways. And a locker room can be a very delicate ecosystem. Kirby Smart obviously knows how to do this. I think Nick Saban knows how to do it. That's hard, man. It's hard. You can't keep all the you would have to literally go see a shrink if you got up every day trying to figure out how to make everybody happy. That's not possible. But you have to maintenance all of that stuff, right? You have to be able to maintain and progress, and then have people believe in you. Okay, you're not getting the love you need right now. If you hang with us, it's coming. Kirby said to do that. And see, now, though, Kirby has these years of success at the highest level, and he can point to all these examples, which he'll do from time to time in a press conference. This guy had to wait. Look what happened. Look what happened when he got his chance, and now look where he is. He's in the NFL. Yeah, that's very true. It's one thing to have a locker room full of a bunch of guys who, on the college level, have really not been told much as far as how good they are. You got to overachieve. I need you to overachieve. You're not as better as that dude over there on the other team. Need you to overachieve. Need you to outwork everybody. Get in the weight room 25 hours a day. We need you to do all these things. That's a very good point. Yeah, very good point. Buckeye Brenda. This is funny. Bill, did you hear TTUN, that team up north, changed their mascot yesterday? Now they're officially known as the Cheetahs. Get it? Do you see what I did there? Do you see? Well, do you see what she did there? I'm just reading it. Officially now known as the Cheetahs. Now, see, in the South, there's no way anybody would say cheater, but pronounce it cheetah. Right? You'd probably have to go up north somewhere. Not even in the Midwest. Big Ten country. You'd have to go over where Rutgers is to get that kind of pronunciation on there. Clyde up in Detroit, who's a Michigan fan. Bill, never forget that Joe Milton lost his starting job to Cade McNamara at Michigan. He was the reason we lost to Sparty during the COVID year. He couldn't hit water with a paddle in the Pacific Ocean. Well, but you're not. Wait a minute. You're not in the Pacific. That would be Lake Michigan up there where you're at, right? Kind of that area. Who'd you say, Patton? All right. Jim, welcome in, sir.
So, Billy, I want to put the final period on Jimbo Fisher's career. Now, you remember when Jimbo left, he didn't say goodbye to his players at FSU. He just left, not thank you to the administration, No, thank you for the fans. Thank you for setting up a foundation to help his sick kid. No, thank you for making me head coach in waiting and pushing out Bowden, which we all know Bobby had to go, but you push out a legend to give him the job. Nothing from the guy. Just trashy move. On the way out, he trashes the program, trashes everything about us. Well, it's coming out now that old Jimbo was told well before that game that he would be fired. And after he talked to his team, and I'm going to send you the video there, he talked to his team. I doubt you've seen it. He's just a dead man. He's a beaten man. And A&M did not allow him to say goodbye to his players. They said, get the hell out of here, Jimbo. You're not speaking to anybody because you're a loser.
I saw the clip. Yeah, it's on Twitter. I saw the clip. He just addresses the team and talks about the future, kind of, but yeah. But nothing about him losing his job. Rusty, when we come back. When you're famous, you can just go by the first name. Rusty from On 3 when we continue.
.560 AM, 95.9 FM, Brentwood, Nashville, 107.9 FM, Smyrna, Nashville's first 24-hour sports station. WNSR, Nashville Sports Radio.
ABC News, I'm Justin Finch. A government shutdown averted. The Senate overwhelmingly approving the House's short-term spending bill, but without any aid for Israel and Ukraine. President Biden is expected to sign the measure, but has said he wants that aid included in the next round of government funding. Also in Washington, a massive protest last night with demonstrators calling for an Israel-Hamas ceasefire.
U.S. Capitol Police pushing back what appeared to be anti-Israeli protesters demanding that nation stop bombing Gaza. They directed their anger at the Democratic National Committee headquarters, not far from the U.S. Capitol. A number of House Democrats, including Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, were inside, police evacuating them to safety.
ABC's Andy Field. The Israeli military says it's found evidence they say proves Hamas had a command center at the Al-Shifa medical facility, Gaza's largest hospital. This is ABC News.
You know when you wake up and your mouth feels gross and you just can't wait to brush your teeth to get that clean, fresh feeling again? That's exactly how millions of Navage users feel when they use powered suction to rinse out their noses every day, just like brushing their teeth. Once you're able to breathe deeply without congestion, you never want to be without it. That's why so many people rave about Navage, with over 100,000 online reviews. Feel the Navage difference for yourself. In less than a minute a day, you'll feel immediate relief from seasonal allergies and congestion after the very first use. Navage will also help you sleep deeper, snore less, and feel healthier, naturally, without drugs. Start breathing clearly again with Navage. Navage is available at Walmart, Walgreens, Target, CVS, Rite Aid, and online at Navage.com. Navage. N-A-V-A-G-E. Clean nose, healthy life.
Have you ever met a single person in your life that enjoys paying taxes? No, no one does. If you can't sleep at night because you have a huge problem with the IRS, I've got some free advice for you. This service is strictly limited to individuals that owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes. And if you qualify, we can guarantee that you won't be writing a big fat check to the IRS, or our services cost you nothing. The first 100 people that call today will get a free tax consultation worth $500. Stop worrying about your IRS problem. We can help you, we promise. Call the tax doctor right now. I mean right now, to learn more.
800-649-0142. 800-649-0142. 800-649-0142. That's 800-649-0142.
In Tennessee, 967,430 people struggle with hunger, and 295,570 of them are children. That's 1 in 7 who struggle with hunger, and 1 in 5 are children. People who are hungry are not necessarily living on the streets. They may be in your child's classroom, in your neighborhood, or just down the street. In addition, many of these people live in food deserts, which are areas more than 10 miles from the nearest grocery store. Often there are limited resources to get food, and the only option is fast food or convenience markets. While processed food may help with hunger pangs, it provides little to no nutrition. What began in 2008 as a dream to buy land, grow food, and give it away has recently developed into a way to serve and impact more individuals in the community. God has blessed our mission to be a healthy food source to those in need so much, By Faith Farm had to create a nonprofit to continue meeting the need in the community on a larger scale. Visit ByFaithFarm.com to get involved. That's ByFaithFarm.com.
From the Strike and Spare Family Fun Center studio, it's the Bill King Show.
He was like a god walking amongst mere mortals.
Go get it, dog.
I'm a man! He had a voice that could make a wolverine purr.
Ide is sitting on a firecracker.
And suits so fine, they made Sinatra look like a hobo.
It's a fantastic day for the United States of America.
It's the Bill King Show. Call or text now. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Call us or send us a text on the WNSR text line. 615-844-5600. 615-844-5600. Call or text. Same number.
Red 7! I don't know what Red 7 means.
Brought to you by Omni Nashville Hotel, 5th Avenue, downtown.
Hot rock! That's what we call a sack lunch!
What I do have are a very particular set of skills. Skills that make me a nightmare for people like you.
Rusty Mandel with On 3 joins us. You've heard it many times on this show through all these years. Rusty, would you say this Georgia team is peaking right now?
Definitely, and getting healthy. I think that's the biggest thing. You know, you kind of go through the schedule, and Kirby can say what he wants, and he can do all the PR he wants. That first month was absolutely brutal for Georgia, and losing that Oklahoma game just, you know, it is what it is. And Georgia tried to go to Oklahoma to play week 2 and got taken away for whatever dumb reason. But Georgia knew staring down the schedule the second half was going to be better, but I don't think anybody anticipated facing, you know, number 9 at the time, Missouri, and then facing number 9, Ole Miss in Athens. Georgia beat number 9 2 weeks in a row, and those are 2 really good football teams. But Georgia's gotten healthy, and I think the play of Carson Beck is really he's starting to show that he's a dude.
I will absolutely admit, I'm looking up at the heavens right now. I did not think 19 would be back that fast.
Well, I didn't either, to be honest. Now, I did, you know, I did a segment on a lot of national shows on that week when he got hurt, and I thought that Monday of Tennessee week was the goal to start practicing. I talked to a lot of people. I talked to a lot of people around the Alabama program and about the Tua deal. Then I found out that, you know, his mother said that the same guy that did Tua's surgery down in Montgomery, Alabama, did his. They met with those guys, and they were fairly privately, Bill, and then we find out now, probably the target was 3 weeks. And sure enough, dude, he practiced the week before. He practiced the Missouri week and had some running around and hit GPS numbers, but as about this time last week, they knew, like, hey, this dude's going. And I thought, somebody asked me on Atlanta radio station, over under 20. I said, I'll give him around 20. Dem dude played 45 plays. I don't know what's in his damn bloodstream, but that dude's got some tiger blood in him.
Well, and I talked about it before we knew when he'd come back. It's one thing to come back. It's another thing to come back and be where you were.
Correct. He's still not 100, but he was – and that's what I said, Bill. 85% of Brock Bowers is better than 99% of the tight ends in the country.
Right. No, it's true.
So, this dude's different now. And, I tell the Georgia fans for about halfway through the season, and that was before he got hurt. I said, if you want to go see a special player, you're running out of time. And I was glad for he and his family because he really wanted to play one more time in San Francisco. I know Georgia fans loved it, but for Brock Bowers and the commitment of his family, Bill, they come from Napa, California every week. They come around across the coast to watch him play wherever. So to be able to watch that kid play his last game in that stadium, I thought that was a really cool moment for them.
Do you anticipate more Florida commits flipping? And Georgia was the recipient.
Yeah. The one I know Florida fans are worried about is L.J. McCray, and I think Florida State's the one that I would worry the most about. And look, this is the guy that Georgia, they recruited to piss that up. They loved him. They thought he was, one of the top 2 or 3 5 techniques. This guy's 6'6", 270. Got some Trayvon Walker, stuff to him. And there's only so many of those 5 technique defensive ends that can rush the passer in that body type. So I know Florida fans are on edge, and that would be the one I would worry about. A kid from Dublin, Georgia, I don't know if they're really, truly shocked that Georgia, came down and got him. But L.J. McCray out of Daytona Mainland, right there a little bit south of Gainesville, that's the one I would be watching because that is an ultra, ultra talented player. You don't want to lose those types.
Clay, who is here in town in the 615, he's a Vandy fan, asked Rusty if Coach Muschamp would take the Vanderbilt defensive coordinator job if offered, and I guess he's also talking about his kids going there too.
Yeah. People know I've known Will since high school. Played high school baseball with Will, played high school football against Will. Hell of an – I'll tell you this, one thing I'll tell you about Will Muschamp, before he had that injury, Will Muschamp was a damn hellacious athlete. People don't realize that dude was you had to buckle it up football, basketball, and baseball. Now, my thought on that, deeply knowing Will pretty good, I think he built a house. He built a house in Athens, and I'm telling you, the backyard looks like adult Disney World. It's got a pool. It's got a pickleball court. It's got basketball courts. I think Will Muschamp has been there and done that, and I think if he's not coaching at Georgia in any shape, fashion, or form, I think Will Muschamp will be retired.
Mike, the Mad Dog in Noonan, Georgia, ask Rusty what he's hearing about Carson Beck possibly coming back next year.
There's some discussions there. Obviously you got to think about it and how he's playing. People don't realize, he and Tate Ratledge are very tight. If you're going to come back, as a 22-year-old player in college, you want to have a couple of your boys with you and some linemen. I'm not saying it's all on Tate Ratledge, but Carson Beck's not coming back to hang out with some freshmen. You know what I mean? He's coming back because he thinks he can improve his stock. He's going to have a couple of guys. I think he lives with Tate Ratledge. So you look at those guys' decisions, they all have a decision together. I would lean more right now because of the depth of this quarterback draft. I would lean more right now that he's coming back. But I'm telling you right now, if he carves it up the next month and takes Georgia on a deep run and wins this thing, who knows? Because I'm telling you right now, he's going to have some agents telling him there's some NFL teams. The one thing I'll tell you, Bill, seeing him in person 3 or 4 times this year, you want to talk about a live arm? You're talking about a ball jumping out of a quarterback's hand, tight spiral. It's Carson Beck.
That quarterback room then will have decisions to make.
No doubt. Yeah. So if he decides to come back, and those kids are tight now. They're not like you see those guys hanging out. I watch them in pregame warm up. They're cutting up. They're great kids, man. I've known Brock Vandergriff since he's the 9th grade. I've known Gunnar Stockton since he was in the 7th grade. All these kids are cut from the same cloth, and so if Carson Beck tells those guys, hey, I'm coming back, there's going to be some decisions made. Georgia's not keeping all those. Not with Dylan Raiola and Ryan Puglisi coming in January as well. So there's going to be some movement there. I'm interested if Carson Beck leaves, what does a Brock Vandagriff do? I mean, does he say, okay, I've been here long enough, you know, I should be the front runner, but he would be in a battle, in my opinion, with Gunnar Stockton, because I'm telling you, Gunnar Stockton's the one people don't talk about. And, you know, he's got some juice to him too.
Rusty Mansell on 3. Here's the scenario we keep throwing out here on the show. Just what if? It'll be cleared up next few weeks. Georgia wins out to the SEC championship game, which they're heavily favored to do. I'm making that assumption. Alabama wins out. They match up. Alabama beats them. Don't know that.
Georgia's out.
You think they're out? Wow.
I think they're out unless there's some things happen. This is the year. I mean, I know some Georgia fans are probably pissed off hearing that, but I'm not going to be around the bush. They go. Georgia fans right now better be watching Oregon State. They better be watching Iowa State, and they better be watching Florida State next weekend. Because if you want a kind of a safety valve, you need some things to happen. And I know the argument. I mean, Georgia's been number one. They've lost one game in 2.5 years. If that happens, they would have lost one game in 2.5 years. So, you know, what happens there? But I just think this is that year, and there's a lot of football left, Bill. There's a lot of football left. But if they don't get a couple of key losses, that SEC championship will be a playoff game again, and that's just the bottom line. I mean, you get to this point of the year, and you play in the SEC, and you got two very talented football teams, Alabama and Georgia. That's going to wind up being a playoff game, and it has been that way before, Bill.
You need Washington to lose somewhere.
They need Washington to lose. They need, Oregon State to beat Oregon, knock them down a little bit. So that what you need is one of these teams, even if they do win the conference championship, to have a questionable late loss. I guarantee you, Florida State fans have never cheered for Louisville as much as they have Saturday against Miami. They need Louisville to beat Miami in a big deal to me. So. That's the league that you kind of worry about a tad going down. And then I do think Florida State is one of the Final Four, in my opinion. I think they're one of the top 4 teams in the country. But I worry about what happens to them if you get 5 or 6 teams and you start looking at that league, especially if Miami beats Louisville Saturday. Man, that puts a damper on the rest of their schedule and how that league actually finished up.
Is Glenn Schumann the next Dan Lanning? And is he ready?
Glenn Schumann is 33 years old. He has a very young family in Athens. He has 2 small children. He is going to be very picky about his next move. And he is extremely smart. I don't people realize Glenn Schumann didn't play college football. He is from the state of Texas. His father was a high school football coach in Texas. Kirby took him under his wing as basically a football manager. And you want to talk about a damn story when it all unfolds one day, when this dude is a head coach of a major college program, it's going to be a really good one because I don't think people understand his past. He was the very first person that Kirby Smart hired. The day Kirby got hired, he put Glenn Schumann on the road next morning. I didn't even know who Glenn Schumann was. And I saw the dude recruiting for Georgia. I was like, who in the hell is this guy? And, years later, you obviously know he is. So, people ask about Texas A&M, and if I'm Glenn Schumann, absolutely I would listen to Texas A&M, but I just think Texas A&M has got to go the proven head coach. They don't have to have the splash hire and all that, but they better have somebody that's been a CEO of a company, and right now that's the last thing that Glenn Schumann has not checked a box, and he's had opportunities. He turned down the Philadelphia Eagles twice this year, So that tells you this guy's being picky with where he's going to move. I think he's very comfortable where he's at. And sooner or later, though, that guy's going to be a head coach somewhere.
Rusty, appreciate it, man.
Thank you, Bill.
There is Rusty Mansell on 3. So good, man. So thorough. J.C. Sherber, TheBigSpur.com, Carolina Rise. He's with us every Thursday. Looking forward to it right after the break. Omni Nashville Hotel.
Good morning. Had a time moving that stolen car a few minutes ago in a bad spot on 65 southbound at Trinity Lane. It's still pretty crowded trying to get down through there. It's still very heavy, but it's moving on 24 westbound up through the Hickory Hollow area, coming in from Rutherford County, Murfreesboro towards Nashville. It's still busy, but let's keep it moving there in Kingston Springs on I-40 eastbound all the way through Bellevue. Prince's Hot Chicken is hiring at all 4 locations. Check out that wonderful menu today. You can order online at princeshotchicken.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
With 13 locations nationally, including Smyrna, Star Leasing Company is a semi-trailer one-stop shop and the perfect place to build a career as a semi-trailer mechanic. Seeking candidates with all levels of experience, Star Leasing Company has a semi-trailer technician trainee program with sign-on and quarterly bonuses and other opportunities such as $1,000 for having a yearly physical. Package also includes 401k with company match, health, dental, and vision insurance, competitive pay with weekly paychecks, and paid holidays and time off. Star Leasing Company, not your typical semi-trailer leasing company. Visit starleasing.com to learn more.
Bar Lines at the Omni Nashville Hotel downtown is at the heart of Music City. Located within walking distance of the Country Music Hall of Fame, Bar Lines at the Omni is your downtown honky-tonk destination. Watch your team from any seat on their plentiful HD TVs and catch a live show on the Bar Lines stage featuring live music 7 days a week. Bar Lines has the ultimate Southern comfort food. Get started with classic fried green tomatoes or bourbon barbecue wings. Then it's on to the massive Smashville double stack or the world famous Bar Lines grinder. Oh, you've never heard of the Bar Lines grinder? 2 kinds of cheese, lettuce, Dijon, smoked turkey, smoked bacon, smoked ham. Now that's some smoke you want. Local brews and local spirits are on tap at Bar Lines. Take a seat on the patio outside and soak up the rhythm of Music City. Bar Lines at the Omni Nashville Hotel, 5th Avenue, downtown.
And now, All Good Heat and Air is reminding motorists to slow down on our roadways, keep an eye out for kids at play, and never text and drive. This message is brought to you by All Good Heat and Air, serving the community for 5 years. For all your HVAC home service plans, give the pros a call today at 931-575-7039. 931-575-7039. That's All Good Heat and Air, going the extra mile for safety. They're professionals who care.
It's the McFarland Show with Darren McFarland and Fox 17's Justin McFarland.
I believe this franchise right now, unfortunately, is paying for the sins of a lot of bad draft picks and bad signings. You can only dodge that for so long. When you think about going back-to-back years with your first-round pick and get nothing, that's hard. That's a hard pill to swallow. It just is.
The McFarland Show with Darren and Justin on Nashville Sports Radio WNSR.
Nobody knows more about college football history than Bill King.
Tracking down J.C. Sherbert. I think we got it. Yeah, there he is. J.C. Sherbert with us. TheBigSpur.com, Carolina Rise, his collective. J.C., from a Carolina point of view, what is the goal these last 2 weeks, other than get W's, but what's the goal roster-wise?
Well, stay healthy. I mean, that's been an issue all year. Injuries that started the same offensive line for the first time back-to-back games last week against Vandy, and so that's a key factor here when it comes to the Gamecocks. It's been an issue all season. You know, you don't talk about it a whole lot because it sounds like you're making a bunch of excuses, but the schedule and the injuries have really been factual issues with the Gamecocks this season, along with a lot of defensive breakdowns at times. But I think they're coming around at the right time. Kentucky, if you look at Kentucky and you flip the schedules, I don't know that Kentucky isn't a 4-6 team, and Gamecocks are maybe 6-4 had they gotten to play the cupcakes the Wildcats did at the beginning of the year. So we'll see what happens, but that's it. Stay healthy, because you don't want to go into this one and have some injuries, and then the next week that's a big game in the state of South Carolina, regardless of the disappointment that both teams have had this year. So you want to be at your best for that one.
Question from Mike in Spartanburg wants to know, since you're in the collective business, are you hearing any good juicy rumors about South Carolina or anybody, whoever?
Oh, and for departing or coming or going, or
transfer portal, all that, yeah.
Yeah, I think South Carolina's going to be active in it. There's some names floating around out there, but they're not in the portal yet, and so you don't want to really just spread rumors on that. But South Carolina has some obvious needs. Running back would be one, defensive line would be another, maybe a linebacker, maybe a corner. Obviously, any school, I think, would take an offensive tackle if you could find them in the portal. So there's going to be some needs this year. One thing I don't think they'll do is take a quarterback, just because I think they like the group they have there now, and they continue to recruit almost every class. They usually get a guy. So that's the one spot I would say probably not. But everywhere else, receiver, I think they could use an older receiver next year. So they'll be shopping. As far as leaving goes, I don't think you could avoid some guys leaving these days at any program. So we'll just have to wait and see. And what I always tell everybody is it's going to be a player that we all sort of were high on when he came in, but probably hadn't done a whole lot. And then he leaves kind of early, and you're disappointed. Everybody has these players they like, right? And so there'll be a guy like that kind of stings a little bit. But right now, all the principals, I think, are planning on returning as of right now.
And you mentioned running back. That's not hard to go get in the portal. It's really not.
No, because guys are looking for, carries, and sometimes guys you get out of the portal, like the kid from Kenneth Walker, who I think is now with the Broncos, that went from Wake to Michigan State. He had about 500 yards at Wake. He goes to Michigan State and blows up. Now he's one of the better backs in the NFL. So you never know with those guys. You don't know whether it's the numbers are a matter of opportunity, system, you name it. Dylan Johnson at Washington now, he probably didn't have the rushing numbers at Mississippi State under Leach that he's putting up right now, but certainly he made a good move there. So yeah, I think you can find him. I mean, Bill, look, two of the top 10 rushers in the SEC, Schrader from Missouri and Anderson from South Carolina, are Division II transfers.
Yeah.
They both Schrader came from Truman State, and Anderson came from Newberry College. So, that should tell you something about that position. You can find guys.
You can. Now, the War Daddy defensive lineman, that's a whole different thing.
Oh, yeah, that's very difficult to go, especially at edge, or end. I guess they call it edge now. I still call it defensive end, but
right.
Pass rushers, I mean, because you'll have schools that, maybe they're sitting on 3, but they need a 4th because you rotate them. And maybe that school's got a little bit more attractive situation than the school you're at or something. But it is difficult to go find those types of guys. Carolina probably is going to focus more on the interior because they got some young ends and some guys coming in that are going to make a difference like Dylan Stewart. But I think that D-line, just like in recruiting, regular old high school recruiting, Bill, it's tough to sign those guys. It's very, very tough.
Craig in North Augusta, South Carolina, says there is a Carolina Rise event tonight in North Augusta. He'll be there, and he wants to know if you'll get on a plane, he'll buy you a beer.
No, I'm not going to make this one. We've got Keith and Daniel representing there. It's one of those that's kind of what those guys do. I was at the one in Charleston and Georgetown earlier this year, but they're very informal events, info session, meet and greet, talk a little Gamecock football. So I encourage everybody that's in that area to come out and bring a friend that may not be a member and listen to the speech and then talk a little bit about the team. I mean, it's always fun to talk sports, especially when you've won 2 in a row instead of losing 4 in a row. That's a little bit brighter spirits, a little bit more pleasant conversation.
Question here on Twitter wants to know your best estimate for the A&M job.
Well, it's interesting. I had a conversation a couple of days ago. Thought that Dan Lanning would be the guy, but Bill, I just, gosh, his statement. I mean, that's a Nick Saban level. I'm not going to coach at Alabama type of statement. I mean, he's going to take some heat, I think, if he takes that job. I don't know that he's the best fit for that job. I think I'll continue to say I wouldn't overthink it if I were A&M. I would go get the best coach I could, and I think that best coach they can is sitting in Durham, North Carolina, right now. Lane Kiffin. I got the odds from Sportsbook.ag in my inbox the other day, and it said Lane Kiffin was the odds-on favorite, and it had Elko and Lanning too. But man, I just don't know that I would overthink it if I were A&M at this point. I think I would probably be on a plane to Durham, North Carolina, and understand that the last coach that was at Duke that took an SEC job, he did pretty well, right, back in the 90s. So
yep.
I think Duke is such a difficult job that you don't get out of there winning like he is without being an excellent elite coach.
Something that's been brought up, I don't know what Riley Leonard's thinking about his future. He could turn pro, but if you got Elko, would Leonard come with him and take over that quarterback spot?
That's an interesting proposition for sure. I mean, I think Riley's from North Carolina or Tennessee one.
No, Mobile, Alabama, South Alabama.
Alabama. I knew it was one of those states that he was kind of a second-tier guy. But,
yep, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, Sam Hartman left Wake Forest for Notre Dame. I mean, it's those schools, Wake and Duke, it's just not the same atmosphere as an SEC-type school or Notre Dame or something like that, and that could be very appealing. So, yeah, I mean, that's with the transfer portal these days, it's not – there's been precedent set that coaches will take players with them. Lincoln Riley kind of set that a couple of years ago. So, yeah, who knows? That would be especially if he brought Kevin Johns along with him as offensive coordinator, which I think he should if he gets the job. That may be something that gets Aggie fans excited. But, I mean, it's not like they don't have quarterbacks sitting there, for him to coach either.
Since you are in that collective world, and we were talking earlier, JC, this week about A&M and the rule where during the season, if your head coach gets fired, there's an immediate 30-day window that your team, your roster can jump in the portal, their own portal for 30 days. I was thinking about that because obviously A&M's got a lot of attractive players that teams across America would love to go in and poach. I guess my only setback or my only thinking is you're not going to go to those kids, JC, and buy them, meaning, say we got more money over here than you're getting over there. You're not going to be able to attract them that way. You may be able to attract them because you can promise them they're winning immediately or something bigger, right? But I don't think you can go in there and pay them off to get them.
No, that's it. It's unrealistic. You don't ever want to get in a bidding war with these guys.
Right.
It's a collective coaching hire, or otherwise. They tend to be able to make things happen. And, look, and there's going to be some guys that jump in the portal from A&M that were probably highly recruited guys that hadn't really done much. So you're not going to really miss them, So I do expect some people to explore their options, but those are usually the guys that are, need a fresh start. Maybe it hadn't worked out for them like they thought. So we'll see what happens there. But I would be shocked if there were mass attrition. All those big-time D linemen and all those dudes. I don't expect there to be much movement there.
I was just thinking, what would you have to come at Evan Stewart or Walter Nolan with? Just two random names there. God knows.
7 figures probably for about one of those guys. Evan, I mean, that's an elite receiver and an elite D tackle. I mean, those position values are pretty high, I guess, in the scheme of things. You know, I hate to speculate on numbers because most of the time in this NIL world, Bill, the numbers you hear are not the reality of it.
Right.
Except for in men's basketball, and it's probably higher. But it's you know, those guys, like, and I'm always on the conservative end. But when you talk about player value, those two, they'd be up there for me. I mean, those are ones that, you know, you don't break the bank for them, but if you got it, I'd spend it because they're proven and good. You know, you don't pay for potential in the portal. That's a lot of P words there. But something like that, a guy like that, they're worth it because they can change your whole offense or defense. I mean, they're game changers.
Jeff Ketchum was saying a couple of days ago, and I think it's been reported elsewhere, that Quinn Ewers is very much considering coming back, which kind of surprised me. But nonetheless, if true, and Arch Manning right now is redshirt, doesn't affect him right now, but peering into the future, he's got some decisions to make, and the kid who's been playing there for them's played pretty well.
Yeah, I would think that maybe there would be some decisions to make, but I mean, I don't. It would still sort of surprise me just because Arch Manning went to Texas because he wanted to go to Texas, right? And you know, I think Eli redshirted, didn't he? I know Peyton got in midway through his true freshman season because I think his second start was at South Carolina, and I remember watching him as a true freshman. But you know, it would be somewhat surprising, I think, if Arch jumped in the portal, no matter what happens with Ewers. At the same time, you know, it's a new world. Anything can happen. I know this, Arch, NIL-wise, and you know, maybe he's not like his uncles right now as far as being a good player, a good enough player, an elite player. Maybe he's a little different. They say he plays more like his granddad than anybody else. But he's a Manning, and so that's the other part of NIL. Sometimes you don't have to be this accomplished player to have that value because he's Arch Manning. He's already famous, you know, and that's attractive to brands and companies. And so that's NIL. That's what it is. So it would probably cost some school a pretty penny, NIL-wise, to get him, and it would be, you know, and that's his value, you know. So it's not something to complain about, but it would be surprising to me if he left. However, you know, like I said, it's a new world; anything can happen, and I'm sure he wants to get on the field just like everybody else.
Jeff, too, who's in this audience, went to Ole Miss exactly the same time as Eli, and he redshirted. He was telling us redshirted his first year, then got stuck behind Romero Miller for a little bit, and then took over.
Yeah, I remember that. It was during the Cutcliffe era. Miller was a really good senior quarterback for them, dual threat guy. They were winning and going to bowls, and but then once Eli got it and got rolling, man, they were nasty. They were really good offensively. So he, you know, sometimes patience is a virtue. I think you got to wait your turn, and sometimes that pays off better than jumping to another situation if you're not playing a whole lot. You know, especially with him, it's his second year. If it was his third year, something like that, I see the logic more.
Sure.
But you know, second year, you wait behind Quinn Ewers a season, and chances are you're getting that job. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, that's exactly what happened with Eli.
JC, always a pleasure to have you here at thebigspur.com and also Carolina Rise. See you next week.
All right, thanks, Bill. See you next week, bud.
JC Sherman. We'll get the break. Continue on. Omni Nashville Hotel.
Good morning. Still a little bit of volume down in Williamson County on 840 through Paytonsville. It's still busy, but it's moving on 24 westbound up through the Hickory Hollow area as that traffic continues to build in from Rutherford County, Murfreesboro towards Nashville. It's still heavy also on Vietnam Vets, especially there at Conference Drive, westbound Vietnam Vets as you get on that ramp there to 65 going southbound. Hey, get rid of that old junk car today by calling Cash for Junk Cars Boswell Towing at 615 area code 979-7897. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
In a single moment, everything can change. When a player's sudden cardiac event brought a national football game to a halt, it shone a spotlight on the importance of CPR readiness. Now, with youth sports in full swing, the American Heart Association is rallying parents and coaches to be ready in an emergency. To be ready, learn hands-only CPR. It's a skill anyone can learn in minutes. Visit heart.org/hands-only-CPR and become a lifesaver today.
Dinner with Friends is a fine dining restaurant located in Nashville's prestigious West End. It features an elegant presentation and exceptional service. One of the first non-alcoholic restaurants in Nashville. They pride themselves in professional and courteous service. A popular choice among locals and tourists alike. If you're in town for the ball game or you're just visiting with friends, Dinner with Friends is the preferred location for those seeking a rich, modern restaurant with serene atmosphere and top-notch guest experience. Your server will uphold the high standards of etiquette and hospitality and guide you through a unique dining experience. Enjoy the ambiance and reconnect with friends. Specialty dining will feature a set menu, a dedicated server, and a personal chef. Enjoy a delicious combination of meats and vegetables at a very affordable price. There's no place in Nashville like it. A unique experience. Come and have dinner with friends. 1719 West End Avenue. To make a reservation, call right now. 615-730-9559. Dinner with Friends, a proud sponsor of TSU football on WNSR.
Quick, convenient, efficient. 3 words that we all hope to experience when we do business. Our goal at JHA Company is to bring just that to an industry that's traditionally dictated to the customer when it's time to do business. Whether you're purchasing class pictures in a yearbook, class jewelry, a letter jacket, school spirit wear, or senior graduation products, we strive to make the experience quick, convenient, and efficient. Find out more at jhacompany.com. JHA, your one source for an unparalleled scholastic experience.
The TSU Tigers men's basketball team with fifth-year coach Penny Collins are coming off a top 3 OVC finish last season and looking for much more this season. Led by preseason all-conference guards Marcus Fitzgerald and Kenyon Hodges, the Tigers face an impressive non-conference schedule that includes Oregon, Lipscomb, Austin Peay, Indiana State, and Liberty, and tip-off a league play on December 28th at Gentry Center versus UT Martin. Hello, this is Greg Pogue inviting you to join longtime TSU broadcaster Albert Dawson on all of the games this season right here on Nashville Sports Radio WNSR.
The number one college sports show on the planet, The Bill King Show.
Dom up in Pittsburgh. Bill, any chance you could get Buck on tomorrow to talk Chip Kelly? I don't know where we would put it. I do want to get him on. We lost him this week because he was on the West Coast. He was actually in Cali on business. I'm sure he's been in touch with what's happening out there. I'm sure he knows what's going down. And the reports that perhaps after that Southern Cal game in a week, Chip Kelly is officially unhired. That has been some of the reporting that's out there. Yeah, I thought about that too. Just don't know where to slot that. I'm still trying to figure out next week. I've reached out to J-Book. I've not heard back on Monday. I know Evie will join us Monday as well. Getting hit up here, and I haven't seen this, but time in Myrtle Beach. threw this up just a couple of minutes ago, a couple of these. According to the Spurs Up show, which is a South Carolina site, former President Trump will be in attendance at the South Carolina Clemson football game next weekend. Multiple entities such as Gamecock, Central, the Big Spur. I didn't see this until after JC, which is my fault. And others are reporting this. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how to comment. Orange Man at the Willie B. Okay, there you go. There you have it. Just the mere mention of that is funny when you consider the planet we're on right now, and if that name comes up for any reason, how everybody reacts. Whether it's pro or con, right? I mean, it's funny to me. Josh down on the Emerald Coast, who is a big Clemson fan. Bill, I've always thought P.J. Fleck would be a good fit for an SEC school. High-tempo type offense. He would. Where would he fit? He wouldn't fit. I don't think he would fit at a recruiting rankings brand at an SEC school. It'd have to be a place where motivation and all that stuff. I'm not a big P.J. Fleck guy. But where motivation and all those sayings and the constant mind game stuff would help a roster overachieve. For example, would P.J. Fleck be a good hire at Mississippi State? And not that he would take that job. I don't think he's leaving where he's at. But would a coach like that? I don't know. I don't think he would be the kind of guy I would hire at a place that's just a monster like Ohio State, where you've got a massive fan base, you've got expectations through the roof. You've got to go and get a top-ranked recruiting class every year because you should. You got to beat Michigan. I wouldn't hire him for a job like that. No. Now, he didn't mention the Big Ten. He mentioned, I think he'd be good for an SEC school. And I don't know if P.J. Fleck is a guy who is geographically locked in. Man, he's got to be in a certain part of the country. Some coaches are like that, some are not. Sammy said, Bill, maybe the week after Thanksgiving, catch on to talk about the A&M situation. Yeah, always like catch. That job, I mean, I don't know. It could be filled by then. Money's not going to be a problem. Getting new money's not going to be a problem, but it may be done by then. If so, there's a lot to talk about. Dom said, Bill, don't forget about row the boat. Well, the only reason I didn't mention it is because one of the reasons I don't like him is I just don't like that saying. It's overused. The networks use it all the time. At least they used to. I don't know if they do as much. And it got old. Yeah, it got real old. Danny in New York said, Bill, Cowherd said Michigan needs Harbaugh more than Harbaugh needs Michigan. Curious on your thoughts. I wonder how the administration, especially the university president, has shown their unwavering support that maybe he has told them he'll stay. Pure speculation on my part. Let me think about that. Michigan needs Harbaugh more than Harbaugh needs Michigan. Well, Michigan is a fantastic job, but who would be their selection? If Harbaugh took a pro job, and that's the only way, he'd be the head coach on a pro team. Only way that happens, which is possible year to year. What would be the odds of doing as well as Jim has this program? The new guy. And the odds are less than 50%. And that's Michigan. Now, Michigan is a monster, right? I'll tell you what I would do. I would go right after Lance Lyle. My God. I'd be all over that. If and when. If and when, y'all.
Good morning. Still a little bit of volume down in Williamson County on 840 through Paytonsville. It's still busy, but it's moving on 24 westbound up through the Hickory Hollow area as that traffic continues to build in from Rutherford County, Murfreesboro towards Nashville. It's still heavy also on Vietnam Vets, especially there at Conference Drive, westbound Vietnam Vets as you get on that ramp there to 65 going southbound. Hey, get rid of that old junk car today by calling Cash for Junk Cars Boswell Towing at 615 area code 979-7897. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Alpine Concrete is asking listeners to please donate a toy to Toys for Tots this holiday season. You could make a difference in the life of a child. This message is brought to you by Alpine Concrete, serving the greater Nashville area with quality and pride. For all your residential and commercial concrete needs, call today for a free estimate at 615-474-7859. 615-474-7859. That's Alpine Concrete. They're professionals who care.
Hey Nashville, join Joe Fisher and me, Jonathan Schaefer, for the Mid-State Checkdown High School Football Game of the Week. This Friday, we have a Class 3A state quarterfinal playoff matchup with Liberty Creek at East Nashville. Pre-game coverage starts at 6:45. Last Friday, our Mid-State Checkdown High School Football Player of the Week, presented by Jackson Boone Racing, was Liam Hackett, kicker at MBA High School. Liam kicked the game-winning field goal in overtime to defeat Ensworth.
For MBA to advance. Good snap, good hold, kick on the way, and the kick is good! MBA advances. The Big Red in overtime.
MBA beat Ensworth 17-14 and will travel to Chattanooga to play McCallie in a Division II AAA state semifinal matchup. It's Liberty Creek at East Nashville for the Mid-State Checkdown High School Football Game of the Week, powered by Jody Jones Dentistry, exclusively on WNSR, Nashville Sports Radio.
Golfers, swing into Edwin Watts Golf Shops for the hottest new fall arrivals from TaylorMade, Callaway, and Titleist. Come by and test drive the new TaylorMade P790 irons, the new Callaway Apex Pro iron sets, and the new Titleist T-Series irons. While you're there, get a free custom fitting on the new arrivals and more. Edwin Watts Golf Shops is your headquarters for all the latest golf gear from all the top manufacturers. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee. Shop us in store or online at edwinwattsgolf.com.
The Jim Rome Show.
Man, I love Facebook. That's not in any way a time suck. It is such a valuable use of your time going on everybody else's page and posting how beautiful they look when they don't. They don't. You know they don't. Come on. Anyway, do what you want with your time. I don't want you to tell me how to spend my time. I won't say how to spend your time, but I will tell you this. Stop cropping out pictures and including yourself and then acting like, hey, my hair looked great that day. My makeup was perfect that day. Just do what I tell you. With regards to this, you'll be fine.
Weekdays from 11 to 2 on Nashville Sports Radio. Bill King is the mother 12th data point of college football.
We tape Kevin Hagan today. You'll hear him tomorrow. Alabama. Playing their best ball, man. Nicky's got them peaking. What that means, big picture, unclear, but we're about to find that out. I have said in the past, when we go to 12 teams, Would you want to be a top-type seed who gets an 8 or 9 Alabama seed? I think Craig in North Augusta brought that up. Was it him or Tom? Not sure, but would you want Alabama, if you're a top seed right now, right out of the chute in a 12-team playoff, let's say you get a bye and you feed into Alabama, or they feed into you, and Nick's got this whole underdog thing he can sell his team. How'd you like that? How'd you like to be coaching up against that? Yeah, we haven't been ranked number 1 or number 2 or number 3. Lost early to Texas. They didn't even have to blitz to get to our quarterback. Offensive line in shambles early on. Quarterback situation in shambles early on. Fighting back. Milroe takes the job, plays better, continues to play well. Tommy Rees has kind of found the formula. The defense has been sticky. How'd you like to run into Alabama as an 8 seed? All year long, you've been ranked number 1, number 2, number 3, right in there. Everybody loves you. The polls love you. The committee loves you. Everybody's patting you on the back. There's Alabama sitting there as an 8 seed. How you like that? That would be this year. Now, again, Alabama's got to play Georgia, and again, with 12 teams, that would not be an elimination game. That would just be a game that would determine some seeding, but it would not be a game that said who's in, who's out. This year's game, we were talking to Rusty about it, very well could be a playoff either in or out. Georgia could be sitting there undefeated, hadn't lost in a million years, seemingly. Lose that game, you're not getting in the playoffs. Now, let me also pose this to you. Let's say Washington is undefeated. And you know what? I'm not going to say they wouldn't deserve to be in, but let me just pose this to you. What would be the spread if Georgia and Washington played, and Washington, let's say, is in because they're undefeated, and Georgia loses to Alabama? What do you think the spread would be, Georgia against UW? Even with that one loss, what do you think the spread would be? I'll ask Brad about that. They'd be favored. And that's not to knock UW. I mean, they did what they had to do. They're undefeated out there. They get in. That's kind of like, but Nick said it a year ago. Alabama would have been favored over, half of the 4. But that last Bryce Young team that lost 2 games, they lost to LSU, lost to Tennessee. How'd you like to run into that team last year with Bryce Young, etc., as in a 12-team playoff, and they're seeded 8 or 9? Now, let me admit, this year's defense is better than last year's. Last year's defense had problems, by Alabama standards for sure. This year's team is much improved on that side of the ball. But all things, folks, just about a little over a year from now, those are all possibilities. They're possible occurrences once we expand out. Kevin Hagan, yeah, you'll hear that tomorrow. Ole Miss Evie, the angelic tones. Coach Pete, we'll pull him back in here as we always do. And hour 3, Brad Powers, BradPowerSports.com, all your gambling items. Yeah, everything when it comes to football, college football. If you have any NFL items, that's fine too. I don't talk about NFL, but Brad does. And Brad, when it comes to the handicapping, absolutely does. If you have any questions there, pose them, and we will pass them along to him when he's with us, hour number 3 on Friday. Just a reminder, next week is a short week for the show. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we'll have our typical shows, except I've got to backfill on those guests, and that's what I'm trying to do right now. Thursday, we're off. Friday, we're off. It's going to be a short week. We have a bunch to pack into 3 days. It's going to be a lot of guesting. This show is not always about the guesting. This show is about the free thinking ideas of this collective, which is the show. The collective, all of us, me and you. That's what the show's about. The free thinking, stimulating arena of ideas. If somebody ever wants a description of the show, that's it. And the core of this show, the sun of our solar system, is the oblong spheroid, but specifically college football. High school ball, too, as it feeds in. But that's it. Anybody who ever wants the description of the show, that is the best way to describe it. Yeah, well, about 2 hours or so, we'll be taping Kevin Hagan this morning for tomorrow. J-Book, I have not got confirmation about Monday. Ole Miss Evie will be Monday, though. Got to figure out where to put Kevin. I plan on putting Brad that last hour on Wednesday if he's clear. I do know that. That's for next week. Lunch Bob.
560 AM, 95.9 FM, Brentwood, Nashville, 107.9 FM, Smyrna, Nashville's first 24-hour sports station. WNSR, Nashville Sports Radio.
ABC News, I'm Justin Finch. Violent clashes in Washington, D.C., protesters calling for a ceasefire in the war between Israel and Hamas. Officially, 6 officers hurt, 1 arrest made so far, but ABC's Rachel Scott reports more injuries.
One group behind last night's demonstration says 90 protesters were injured, and of course this came just one day after that major peaceful protest on the National Mall in support of Israel.
Meantime, in Gaza, more violent strikes, with the Israeli military saying it's found evidence proving Hamas had a command center inside the Al-Shifa medical facility, Gaza's largest hospital. President Biden in San Francisco at the APEC summit, where he met on the sidelines yesterday with Chinese President Xi. The two agreeing to resume military-to-military communications and to curb fentanyl production. This is ABC News.
In business, service is everything. Cintas delivers what you need to better serve your customers. Whether it's freshly laundered work apparel for almost any job imaginable, tested and inspected fire protection systems, first aid and safety supplies, on-site AED training, or mops and restroom products stocked and ready when you need them. Better work days happen together. So visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
A lot of schools talk about training the cybersecurity workforce of the future, but do they really deliver? My Computer Career has been supplying the IT workforce with thousands of skilled, certified pros for 15 years. Train with the experts in support, networking, or cybersecurity and start your career in months, not years. Upskill even faster. On campus or live online. Qualified students may get financial aid, including the GI Bill. My Computer Career. Accredited, acclaimed, effective. Take the free career evaluation at mycomputercareer.edu.
WNSR.
How about Thanksgiving, though, right here at the Omni? Experiences matter here at the Omni. Celebrate Thanksgiving right here at Kitchen Notes with its amazing and expansive holiday brunch that can only add to the wonderful memories of the holiday season. The Kitchen Notes Thanksgiving Feast features multiple entrees, including sorghum, glazed ham, and pan-seared salmon, while the action stations boast smoked prime rib and tender roasted turkey with all the traditional fixings. You're gonna not want to forget that. So good. Also, save up some room for those very sweet endings. Thanksgiving brunch with family and friends at Kitchen Notes. Meals for children ages 5 and younger are complimentary. Make your reservations now
by visiting KitchenNotesNashville.com. Get you some delicious food.
Post-COVID travel is on a surge. Many of you are traveling for fun because you've been locked up for 2 years. Listen, whether you're traveling for fun to Italy, Greece, Spain, France, or somewhere else fun in the world, or USA, now is a great time to book before the crowds hit and save. Plus, with a strong U.S. dollar, you'll get more travel bang for your buck. Right now is a smart time to make your reservations and call low-cost airlines. With one phone call, you can let us do all the work for free. We'll shop hundreds of airlines, hotels, resorts, and give you a way to save huge money on your vacation plans. And if you call right now, we'll give you a free hotel room with a qualified travel purchase. So call right now.
800-704-1662. 800-704-1662. 800-704-1662. That's 800-704-1662.
Are you ready to rock, boys and girls?
Behold, it's the single greatest thing on earth.
Are you listening to me?
It's the Greg Pogue and John Burton Show. Brought to you by the Omni Nashville Hotel.
Let's take some calls from the public, shall we?
Call or text now. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Call us or send us a text on the WNSR text line. 615-844-5600. 615-844-5600. Call or text. Same number.
Hold your nose because the bull's about to fly.